Lawn.com. It's time for Darren, Daunic, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
And a good Friday morning to you, and welcome into Darren, Daunic, and Chase here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Hope everybody was having a good start to the end of your week, hopefully, for a lot of you. Darren McFarland, Chase McCabe, alongside Elijah Campbell back at our Wholesale Link Game Studios, powered by RumbleOn.com. Willie will join us in just a bit. Predators will be at home to do their final two regular season games tomorrow night and Monday night against the Carolina Hurricanes. Tonight it'll be Dallas down in Tampa to take on the Lightning. We got a lot of things to rumble on here on the show, including we had a really good time yesterday out at the Grove. Really enjoyed that out there, of course, around the Corn Ferry Tour. And I think I saw yesterday the best anyone shot, 65 yesterday, I think, was the leader in the clubhouse after day one.
Well,
Not bad.
Not bad. Wasn't one of us.
Wasn't us. Actually, there were two guys. Stefan Yeager and Austin Smotherman both shot 65s yesterday. Good for them.
Man, that's awesome.
I know. Wouldn't that be great to do that?
I know I've talked to, we've talked to some people that have played that course. I don't know if you've ever played it. I obviously haven't.
I have not.
But I've heard that it's fun, but challenging is maybe the best way to put it.
Well, I would hope so. If you're having professional golfers play there, I would hope it's challenging. Yeah.
Sure. So that's what you want. But yeah, it was fun being out there. It was nice. It's obviously been rare in the last year, over a year, that the three of us have been together to do the show. Mm-hmm. So that was cool to be able to do that. And, the weather could not have been nicer.
Oh, my gosh.
So that was great.
Could not have been nicer. I mean, yesterday was just, it was perfect. It honestly was. I thought it was going to be a little bit chilly, but it was not. It was absolutely beautiful. It was gorgeous. Perfect weather, and the rain did not come till we got rain here about 6, somewhere around there in the 6 o'clock hour.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think they were predicting maybe a little bit earlier. In the day, maybe the 4 or 5 o'clock hour, but it didn't come until the 6 o'clock hour, at least where I'm at. I would assume it probably rolled through a little bit earlier where they were. But, yeah, overall, just a great day. Appreciate them having us out there. We had a fun time. And as you said, it was good. It's good, sit there and do it together. So not that it's affected anything for us, which has really been, we've all learned things through all of this, and that companies have, I think people have, and what I've learned is, and I get it, it's not something new. I mean, they've been doing this for years. It's not like we're doing something, oh my gosh, well, you guys are doing something nobody in radio is doing. No, actually, they've been doing this for a long time. They've been doing shows in other states.
Satellite radio.
Yeah, satellite radio has been doing that for a long, long time. So this is nothing new, but we've never done it before, and I guess I didn't realize how incredibly easy it would be for the three of us, including Elijah, back at the board, the four of us, none of us being in the room together, how it would all play out. But I would venture to say it has been very, very seamless.
No, I agree with that. And, I think in some ways, we've added a lot to it. We've started this video component that, we kind of messed with, and obviously this is not a new idea, but we messed with that during the pandemic, doing some game night features, different interviews, and now we've incorporated this to our daily shows, and it's still a work in progress. But now we kind of have like a game television type thing production going with our shows, and that's all been easy to pull off being from home. So a lot of hard work behind the scenes, but it's been good.
We're going to get into a lot of hockey stuff in the second hour of the program. Of Greg Wyshynski is going to join us. We're going to talk about this Green Bay situation coming up in about 10 minutes. What in the heck is going on with the Packers? John Clayton with some really strong words on our show yesterday. One, he's out in Seattle. He said the Russell Wilson story has been the most overblown story he's ever heard before.
Yeah.
I guess he was just basically painting the picture like it's been a whole lot to do about nothing this whole time, but yet it somehow got legs and was a huge story. He's like, but there was never a story. And he believes that indeed Aaron Rodgers is not going to be back with the Packers. And, you can't avoid this topic right now.
Sure.
And it is the topic in the sports world as the NBA and the NHL are winding down their seasons. They're getting ready for, postseason play. We just came off the Kentucky Derby. It's not like other things are not going on, NASCAR, all these things going, and it has been the topic. And obviously Adam Schefter has been all over this. Aaron Rodgers saying he doesn't want to return to the team. The GM saying they're not trading him. You can say that all you want, but
eventually,
we talked about this. Like that's great. But by the way, this is your mess, Brian. So you need to figure that out as a GM. Like this is your mess. You had a lot of missteps along the way, and now good luck trying to climb out of this. And I get it. Willie's stance is, well, we don't want to be here. Yeah, that's fine. But as I said to Willie, if he was the GM, you take that stance. And if Brian takes that stance, make sure you tell your family you're going to get fired in the next year or less. Okay. And that you'll be looking for a new job and you guys will be moving. So just make sure you tell your family that when they go 3-13 and Aaron Rodgers isn't there anymore, when you get fired, but good thing you told Aaron Rodgers, if you don't want to be here, you don't want to be here.
Right.
Good for you.
Right. I mean, he's going to get his way. I mean, that's the bottom line. He's going to end up getting his way. I think that they don't have a choice. And you brought up Adam Schefter. Have you heard his interview with Dan Patrick? That he basically has been sitting on this, like he's heard all this information, over the last few months, and he just happened to decide that draft day was when he was going to break it all, and that nobody like came to him and said, oh, here you go, here it is on draft day. Like it's all just kind of been building up, and he just decided, I'll just break it today on draft day.
Who was this, Schefter or Rodgers?
Schefter. Schefter was on with Dan Patrick. I believe it was yesterday.
But is he saying that was planned or not planned?
No, he was just saying that all the information was coming together and that he kept hearing the same things, that he just felt that
and
it was
all
time.
Came together around the draft.
Sure, right. Which I'm like,
coverage.
I'm like,
wow, that's great. Great timing.
It's good timing.
Yeah. Wow.
But it was interesting. We can play that.
Pick up some lottery tickets while you're at it too. That's pretty good luck.
We can play the clip later. I know I think we have it because I heard the morning show playing it. So we'll have to play the clip later of Dan asking him, because he kind of had the same reaction that you did. Like it just happened.
Just all came together right nicely before the draft, huh?
Yeah. So.
And who was carrying the first 2 days of the draft?
I believe that would be.
Who was carrying all the days?
Yeah, all of it with ESPN and the NFL Network, but but ESPN.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, the bottom line in all of it is, I think we remember his press conference after they lost the NFC Championship game, and people were kind of going, what does that mean? Did he just say? Is he saying goodbye to Green Bay? Like, what is that? Is he retiring? Like, what exactly does that mean? And Tim referenced it when he was on with us on Wednesday. You know, he's brought it up on this show. So it's the stuff that came out. It's not like it's, oh my God, like what? If you had that reaction, then you just weren't paying attention,
or didn't want to. If you're a Packers fan,
or you just didn't want to.
Yeah.
It's okay, Robbie. It's going to be okay. We'll get through this together.
Robbie came on our show this week and said 28% chance he returns. My guess is it's probably those numbers have fallen since then.
I would think so.
That'll be my guess.
28% is just optimism.
Yeah, but like I said, I think now we've learned even more. We've seen even more layers, really how deep this goes, how deep the cuts are. My guess is if we had him on right now, he'd give less than 28%.
Listen, there comes a point and anyone listening to this that has been in a situation whether you've been in a relationship or a job where you throw everything you can at it to make it work, everybody knows their point where it's just like not gonna work. It's done. And I feel like that Aaron Rodgers is at that point. He doesn't want to be there anymore.
Oh, I think he's been done for a good while. He may have been done a year ago today, or a year ago and a week ago, right? Because we're exactly a week removed, or 8 days removed from the first round of the draft.
Sure.
He may have been done a year and 8 days ago.
Yeah,
right?
and right.
But then when you go out and you have an MVP season, you do the ultimate. We've got 5 fingers, and I'm picking one, and you're telling the organization, and in particular the GM, hey, you're number one. You could throw 48 touchdowns and 5 picks, and you're the MVP of the league, and you go to the conference championship game. I think that probably escalated things, right?
Sure, but
just saying, if he has a miserable year and everybody's like, Aaron Rodgers is done. See, this is why the
right, but that wouldn't help him. That wouldn't help him. So I mean, him going, like you're saying, him going and having a year like that, it gives him more leverage.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's flexing more. It's all because of how it all played out. But my guess is the point is it's easy now that he's had the season that he's had, right, to flex even more. I'm saying that he may have been mentally already beginning to say, I'm done with this organization a year and 8 days ago, right? The minute they drafted Jordan Love. That was probably the beginning of the end, even before last season played out.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any doubt that that's when it ended. Like, he saw that draft pick, they didn't tell him. He saw it on TV like everybody else, and he probably went like, all right, deuces. That's how I feel.
So you have 2 fingers.
Yeah, well, you know.
I was showing that he was showing 1. You were painting the picture of him showing 2.
He probably did the, I could see him doing the Bud Adams, the double barrel salute. Which I would. I mean, I get it. But, a guy like that.
By the way, I was in Akron, or in Canton, excuse me. I was in Canton at the Hall of Fame game the first time he did that down the sidelines.
Against Buffalo.
Yeah, against Buffalo.
But it's funny, like I've referenced this. I watched the Steve Austin documentary that A&E did recently.
By the way, I meant to tell you, I watched I didn't want to bring it up while you weren't with us Monday and Tuesday. I watched the Jerry King Lawler one.
Oh, the
Randy Savage one.
Yeah,
and
Randy
the Jerry
Savage.
Lawler one. Yeah.
Ooh,
the Randy Savage one was
yeah.
Ooh. Actually, I watched it I almost watched it twice.
Yeah.
It was wow.
There's a lot. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
With him.
Yep.
But Steve made he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy with creative. He wasn't happy with how Vince was handling things. And it got to the point where he was trying to make it all work. He was trying to push to get what he wanted. He had done enough that he could flex. And when it wouldn't happen and they asked him to, lose to a guy that he didn't think it was beneficial to him to lose to, he said, nah, I'm done. And he left.
Said deuces.
He said deuces. And he went back home. Eventually they worked it out and he came back. He ended his career in the WWE, but that's what Rodgers is having to do. And I don't think this
can be
repaired.
Didn't just fall in line and just do what he was told, and he had his own brain and he decided that wasn't good for his brand and he walked away. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
That happens?
It does.
What?
Sometimes you gotta.
What?
That's what you gotta do.
Come on.
You gotta walk in and.
He just didn't say yes to everything. What?
I know. Isn't that weird?
So there's more than just one. There's more than just one Aaron Rodgers.
There is.
Really?
There's a couple of them.
No. Not great news on the front of tonight's game down in Tampa. John Cooper has said McElhaney will be in net tonight.
Ooh, yeah, that is not good news.
Curtis McElhaney will face the Stars this evening. We will come back and we'll talk a little bit more about this with Pete Doherty, who covers the Packers for the Green Bay Press Gazette. We do that on the other side. Darren, Daunic, and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Tomorrow night, it's game in Smashville.
He scores! Roman Yossi scores in overtime.
The Preds look to clinch a playoff spot when they host the Canes.
We got to find a win to get into the playoffs. That's of the utmost importance.
Pre-game at 6. Face off at 7 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's a seller's market, so why aren't more people selling? You could sell your Nashville home and make a fortune, but are you waiting because you can't find a home to buy? The Gary Ashton team has a solution. Don't sell without the intel. Today, you need a world-class team who can also get you into your next home. Over 200,000 people go to GaryAshton.com every month, so no other team has better Nashville property intel, including our off-market properties. It's the secret weapon that's helping us win the buyer battle, which gives you the confidence to sell today and get top dollar for your home. In other words, you can sell now, buy later, and relax. Cash in on your home equity now and get the best of all worlds. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. Remember, sell now, buy later, and don't sell without the intel.
Blood Assurance, Nashville's only community-based nonprofit blood center, needs your help now. Blood donated today can literally save the life of someone here in our community tomorrow, but the blood supply is currently at an all-time low. Right now, all Type O donors will receive a $10 Amazon gift card to help with this area's desperate need for Type O blood. Blood Assurance has locations in Franklin and Clarksville, plus mobile locations around town. Go to bloodassurance.org for information. That's bloodassurance.org. Give blood. Give local, save lives.
When you get to be my age, you've seen just about everything. But the one thing I plan on never seeing is out-of-pocket expenses that Medicare doesn't pay for. And with Medicare supplement coverage from Farm Bureau health plans, I'll never be out of network, so I can use the doctor I want to choose. So if you're turning 65 and have questions about Medicare supplement plans, dental, vision, or prescription drug coverage, talk to a representative today or visit us at fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
Buy from where the dealers buy at Wholesale Inc. in Mount Juliet, powered by Rumbalon. They're rebuilding to be bigger and better than ever and are ready to put you in the vehicle of your dreams. They'll even trade or buy anything with a VIN number. Cars, trucks, motorcycles, motorhomes, boats, and more. Buying a used vehicle should be fun and exciting, not stressful and boring. For those reasons, Wholesale Inc. makes it simple to browse and shop thousands of used cars, trucks, SUVs, and more at wholesaleinc.com. When you're in the market for a quality pre-owned vehicle, buy from where the dealers buy. Wholesale Inc. on Eastgate Boulevard in Mount Juliet and wholesaleinc.com.
Hal Gill runs On Duncan, America's favorite coffee. I grew up in Boston on Duncan and so happy that Nashville has my favorite Duncan locations all over town. Energize your day with Duncan's extensive line of specialty coffees and espresso-based beverages. Enjoy Duncan's iced, flavor-blasted coffee, lattes, cappuccinos, Americanos, and more. Duncan has the most delicious donuts, muffins, bagels, and all-day breakfast sandwiches in the business. Hope to see you at the new Next Gen Duncan in my neck of the woods on Harding Pike in Belmead.
ESPN's Turron Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
When I say options, I'm talking about drafting a player that could become good, but isn't right now.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely. That dude's a player.
Only on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
You're darn tootin', Mookie. Good job by you. Keep up a good season. Back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Darren McFarland, Chase McCabe with you. Willie will join us in a bit. Let's talk a little bit more about this mess that is the Green Bay Packers. Pete Doherty is on the line with us, covers the Packers for the Green Bay Press-Gazette. He now joins us. Pete, good morning. How you doing?
Yeah, a mess it is.
Let's unpack this large suitcase. There's a lot to unpack. It feels like we're going on vacation for a good while. How did everybody get to this point? How are we at this point where this is the story right now in sports, a week after the draft?
So, I think with Rodgers, there's an element of it that was cumulative, him not being happy about, maybe the way they've built the roster, maybe cutting some guys that he liked, who he thought were still good players. But really, that goes on everywhere. I think it all comes down to they drafted Jordan Love, and it was at a time where, he was saying he still wanted to play till at least 40, maybe longer. And he just took that as just a huge insult. And he was livid about it. And he stayed livid about it, even though he didn't show it publicly last season.
So, what? By the way, tell us a little bit more about this GM, because I know a lot of people are pointing the finger at him and saying, this is your mess. Clean it up. But you're around him. We're not around him, and I don't know anything about him other than his name. You have to deal with him. What does he like to deal with? What do you think of his body of work to this point?
He's fine to deal with, for media. I mean, he's not available all the time, but when he is available, he's more communicative than his predecessor, Ted Thompson, was. So from that perspective, he's fine. I can't say I know him real well. We haven't had a lot of one-on-one conversations, sure. just a couple of them. But, he came up through the Packers system. He worked for the Chiefs like his first year in the league, and then I think the Packers ever since. Scouting background, Southeast Scout, which is where all the talent is. Was their college scouting director, then worked in office for several years as, director of player personnel. And his draft record, this was his fourth draft. His first three, it's a little spotty. He had a really bad draft a couple of years ago. But he added some good free agents on defense a couple of years ago with Preston and Zadarius Smith and Adrian Amos and Billy Turner as a tackle on offense. They've all been productive players. Zadarius Smith has been fantastic. So they've been to the NFC Championship twice. So, he's built a pretty good, they have a talented team. And the one thing that is a total fiction is that he hasn't given Rodgers anything to work with. They had the number one scoring offense in the league last year. They got the highest paid left tackle in the league. They've got one of the best receivers in Devontae Adams. Aaron Jones is one of the 6 or 7 best running backs. They got Robert Tonyan's a pretty good tight end. His stats matched up with anybody in the NFC last year. So and their offensive line was good. They have plenty of talent on offense. So I think that's a total fiction. The Patriots haven't drafted a receiver, didn't draft a receiver in the first round in Tom Brady's first 16 years either. So the guy's done fine. They've been to the championship twice, and really they were as good as anybody last year. They just, blew that game at Lambeau Field in the championship. So he's got his faults, Gutekunst does, and he botched the communication on this with Rodgers. But in my opinion, and there's a lot of people would disagree, but I think he was totally justified in drafting Jordan Love if he thought the guy could be a winning quarterback in the league, and you get a crack at him. A first-round pick is a lot in one sense. It's also nothing in another sense. Look at all the first-round picks that bomb in this league, half of them, right? So
you're on in Nashville, so yeah, we understand. Yeah, that guy that they drafted last year isn't even playing the NFL right now.
Yeah, right. Look at that. Oh, that had to hurt. For them, yeah. I think he was totally justified in picking the guy. And, if it ended up being Brady Garoppolo, hey, great. Trade the guy after 2 or 3 years, But you need insurance. That position's way too important. Rodgers wasn't like he was 31 years old. I mean, he was 37 or going to be 37. And, he hadn't played the greatest the previous couple of years. So they were totally justified in picking that guy. So anyway, Gutekunst, they've been to 2 championship games. He's done well. I mean, he's not saying he's the best GM in the league or anything like that, but the Packers have a very good roster and a team that, with Aaron Rodgers, should have as good a shot as anybody at winning the Super Bowl.
Where is Matt LaFleur in all this? We got to know him in the year that he was here. Great guy to deal with. I didn't think he was going to get the job. I've admitted that many times on the show, and he got it, and he's done quite well. Not that I was rooting against him. He was a great guy to deal with. I just thought it was too soon. I didn't think he was going to get a head coaching job that quick. He did. Where is he in all this? Because he's in a strange dynamic, right? He's got his elite franchise, future Hall of Fame quarterback on one side, and he's got his boss right above him, the GM, on the other side. So where is Matt in all this?
He's a little bit in the middle, and actually they changed the structure here when they hired Gutekunst, and so the head of it all is the president and CEO Mark Murphy, and LaFleur and Gutekunst both report to him, as does the cap guy. So theoretically, Gutekunst really isn't Matt's boss, I guess. I mean, on paper and in reality, he's not quite his boss, although he runs the roster. But yeah, it puts LaFleur a little bit in the middle. I guess they could also it puts you in a position to good cop, bad cop it. I mean, Gutekunst is the bad cop, and LaFleur is the one who's got the relationship with Rodgers, and he's really worked hard at making sure they have a good relationship. So maybe that'll be something to work in their favor if Rodgers does return, that while Rodgers may hate the GM, he really likes the coach, and that's who he's dealing with every day.
We're talking to Pete Doherty from the Green Bay Press-Gazette, and you bring up that relationship that LaFleur and Rodgers have. Do you feel that Rodgers has worked harder on that because things kind of soured towards the end with McCarthy with them, that maybe he's worked to have a better relationship with the head coach and it's not just coming from the other side?
Probably some, I would think so, because I'm sure Rodgers knew that, if he didn't get along with LaFleur after, what happened with McCarthy, and then he just was sick of that offense by the end. He just didn't like it. Rodgers, that people in the league would think, well, this has happened again. The problem's not them, it's you, so I'm sure he did try harder. And LaFleur went more than halfway to meet him. That offense that they run, it generally doesn't have a lot of audibling in it, and LaFleur basically added audibles to it, because that's what Rodgers wanted, and it takes advantage of a guy who's played in the league forever and is really smart. So, it was probably a smart football thing to do too. But he went more than halfway to accommodate Rodgers and to make things fit with them. They worked real well last offseason and getting rid of some stuff from the offense and adding some new stuff because they made a big jump last year. They were really good on offense. So, I think Rodgers probably, he did put more effort into it too. And from what I can tell, outside looking in and just talking to a couple people who know Rodgers, I think Rodgers seems to genuinely like the guy.
Brett Favre has been quoted in saying that, his gut says that Rodgers would rather sit out than come back to Green Bay. Brett obviously has been on, in Rodgers' seat before when they drafted Aaron Rodgers. What is their relationship like? And in hearing Brett Favre's comments, kind of what are your thoughts on that and how he's given his opinion on this?
I think their relationship is, pretty decent now, but I don't think they're particularly close. I don't think they talk regularly. So I don't know how much insight Favre really has on it. It sounds like they just exchange a text or two, and I think, you never know. Maybe they did talk, but if they had talked, I think Favre would have at least said they talked, and he didn't say that. John Kuhn, another teammate, just who was a much closer friend to Rodgers, he went on, I don't know, some national radio show yesterday, and I think the presumption is he probably has talked to Rodgers, and he said he thinks this thing is still fixable and salvageable, and that Rodgers wants to play in Green Bay if he gets assurance that he'd be their quarterback for 2 or 3 years. I don't know that how much to take to the bank what any of these guys say. You never know how much they really know, or if they're just trying to help Rodgers out, with the public front. I think he's losing the public relations battle right now. I'm not sure who to believe or what to believe.
That's interesting. So you think right now he is losing the public relations battle? Rodgers is?
I do. Yeah, in the state, Packers are the biggest thing in the state by far. They're huge. It's not just Green Bay or what. I mean, the whole state is crazy about this team. And this is, there's no Gallup poll or anything, so, don't take this as gospel. But if you're going by emails that I'm getting, Twitter reaction to stories, and just people I run into when I'm out and about in town, I'm just kind of guessing. I would guess it's probably 70-30 against, 65-35, somewhere in there. Yeah, that is a little surprising. I think, there's probably a few things that hurt him, and I think one of them is the story that came out that he wants the GM fired. I think that was probably a bridge too far for any people who might have been wavering or conflicted, I think he might have lost a chunk of the public there.
It's interesting, Pete. We ran a poll, our morning show did, about, because obviously hypothetical trades have been put out there. So if the Titans were to make a move for him and Ryan Tannehill goes the other way, Rodgers comes back here, would you do that? And 60% said no, that they didn't want him. And I find that interesting because of all he's done in his career, winning a Super Bowl, MVPs, all those things. But there is that, he's tough to deal with, that comes with it sometimes. But I find it interesting that you bring that up, that he's losing that battle, that PR battle as well.
That's the answer to that poll you guys did. That surprises me, and that is really interesting. I mean, he's really smart. He can be really charismatic, but he's obviously prickly at times too. I mean, he's just tough to work with at times, and that obviously people have picked up on that. He's a super talented player. I mean, he throws the football as well as anybody who's ever thrown that thing, both with just strength and accuracy and being able to do it from, all different arm angles and, spontaneously and all that. He's a really talented guy and obviously a great football player.
All right, let's end with this. This time last year, Pete, we kept talking about Tom Brady to the Titans, and our listeners were like, why do you keep talking about this? Why do you keep Tom Brady's never leaving the Patriots? Tom Brady's never leaving the Patriots. I don't know why you keep wasting all this airtime on Tom Brady. He's never going to leave New England, blah, blah, blah. Well, we know how that all played out. So we've learned not to do that. And we did, by the way, keep just talking about it all off season until he finally picked Tampa. And here we are again, and I think we've learned, be careful to say that, Aaron Rodgers never going to play anywhere else. Aaron Rodgers never going to play anywhere else. Ultimately, how do you think this plays out? Has he played his last game in Green Bay, or will he be under center again?
Yeah, my mind keeps changing on this and, evolving, and this is going to be a long roller coaster ride, I think, this offseason. If I just had to, take it for what it's worth, because I don't know.
Of
but
course.
If I absolutely had to, make a guess, I would put odds on it. I'd say 60-40 he doesn't play here again. But that's just a wild guess.
Sure.
Yeah. And that's actually, I would have said, more like 80-20, a few days, over the weekend. Well, last weekend, I would have said 80-20.
So why has it come down this week?
Oh, I just, the more I've thought through and talked to people in the league about the Packers' options, I was thinking, you can't have a quarterback who's not all in. And if he's really that unhappy, they're going to have to trade him. And I talked to people who said, nah, call his bluff, make him show up or retire. If he shows up, he'll play. So I think that is probably a real possibility. It's how long is he willing to sit? Is he willing to miss games? All that stuff. How would Love play if he does miss games? There are so many factors. But that, I just kind of think maybe the odds were better of him returning than I thought originally.
Pete, we really enjoyed the visit. Hey, your off season won't be boring. That's for sure.
It's already pretty exciting.
It's going to be a long, rough ride. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a quiet summer for you, but hey, thanks for coming on and lending a little insight on this. We'll talk to you down the road. We're all curious to see how all this plays out. Thanks for doing this.
Sure. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
That's Pete Doherty, Green Bay Press Gazette, covering the Packers. So he says 60-40 does not return, but said earlier in the week or maybe over the weekend, it was 80-20 would not return to the Packers. We'll come back, talk a little bit more about what you just heard. Also, Nashville SC has made an announcement. We'll tell you about that as well as you listen to Darren, Daunic, and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Take us wherever you may go. There's going to be a whole lot of work going on. Tune us in anywhere, anytime.
I think he has some big play in him.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Back to sunshine and calmer conditions today. Afternoon highs will be heading to the upper 60s and lower 70s. Storms back on both Saturday and Sunday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 615-567-1000 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com.
Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House in East Nashville is now open and back with their award-winning pizza. Try out Medium Mondays with BOGO deals on all medium pizzas. Tap It Tuesday with $2 select pints and kids eat free. Wine Down Wednesdays with half-price Asiago cheese bread and bottles of wine. They've even got half-price Bloody Marys and mimosas from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. And don't forget about their daily late-night happy hour from 9 p.m. to close. Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House. Pizza, beer, sports. We'll see you there, Nashville.
If you're like me, you've tried a lot of diets. You've choked down chalky shakes, you've eaten frozen stuff from a box, and you've even poured water over powdered fuzz, stirred that up, and gagged that down. Now, that's what I call desperate to lose weight. Hi, this is Zola from PlanZDiet.com. I did all that and more. In the long run, I failed at all those diets and just kept gaining more weight. Depressing. Then I got smart, did a lot of research, and designed my own diet. It worked so well, I started Plan Z. On top of designing the diet, I invented a formula that keeps the cravings away, controls hunger, and keeps you from failing. It's patented. This is the real deal, and Plan Z is guaranteed. So if you did all the crazy diets and even the serious ones and failed, I figure you want to know more about this one. And since you ate all that lousy food in the process, I'm going to give you a way to taste test Plan Z. All you have to do is go to PlanZDiet.com. You'll see recipes there for comfort food, stuff like meatloaf and chili. Yes, you can eat real tasty food while you diet, and your family will enjoy it too. Check out PlanZDiet.com because you deserve a better diet.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year, we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. Don't look back and wish that you had taken action. Call 833-8ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Jared Stillman.
I wonder if second round might be where they address the starting tight end position.
And company.
I think he's someone that gives you that ability to not be so predictable.
Tune in Stillman and Company for your drive home. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Interact with Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Tune in to Robbie and Rex Road every weekday morning at 8:45 when the Predators have a weekday game. Your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click. You win a prize pack brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka. Your next chance to do that will be Monday morning. Yes, that is their final regular season game. Monday night at Bridgestone Arena when they host the Carolina Hurricanes. And who knows what we're going to be talking about on Monday's show. It's going to be fun. We won't know anything today, but we could know something tonight. By the way, if you did not hear, I put out there in the first segment of the show, Curtis McElhaney will indeed be in between the pipes tonight for the Lightning. It will not be Vasilevsky. So we shall see. And, of course, the Predators play tomorrow night at Bridgestone Arena. So be listening Monday morning at 8:45 for your next chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click, where you pick a player to score a goal. Nashville SC has announced here in the last 30 minutes or so that fans will be allowed in Nissan Stadium to near full capacity starting Sunday, May the 23rd, when Nashville SC hosts Austin FC. So great news.
That's awesome.
Great news for Nashville SC that they will be maybe operating at or near full capacity for their game starting Sunday, May 23rd against Austin FC. We will have that game, of course. I don't know if it's on, is that on 102.5 The Game or 94.9?
ESPN 94.
On that Sunday?
94.9.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where all their games are.
Okay. I didn't know if there was sometimes.
It has happened, and now you're making me wonder, like, but
okay. Well, I wasn't trying to trick you. I know we've done both, and so It's either going to be on 102.5 the game
the
or
Predators' schedule is TBA.
Correct.
As we know, for May 23rd. So
there's some moving parts.
Let's hope there is a schedule.
It's crazy. One, I love that we're all wearing our Preds stuff for Preds Pride Day, but
I did start the show with
you.
Yes,
you did.
I kind of noticed my eyes were playing a trick on me because it seemed like.
So here's the deal.
You changed.
I had it on. No, I did. I had this on, and I pulled it off before the show because I had turned the heat on and I got it way too hot in here. So I pulled it off because I was hot, and then I saw you and I was like, crap, I need to put that back on. So I did change hats, though. I will admit
you did. You did a wardrobe.
You guys are going what Chris Mason and I like to call full passion.
Full passion.
You know, there's Terry Chris. Like bring the passion.
They bring the passion.
And we say like when you're going all in on the gold. That's full passion.
Yeah,
that's full passion.
For Preds.
Like for Preds.
I didn't go full passion. Maybe I should go all gold.
Maybe I should go all gold. Maybe if you guys.
Hey,
I mean, you've
already had one wardrobe change on the show. I mean, why not two?
Well,
let's do this.
I got the all gold ready to go.
Do it.
I mean, it is Predators Pride Day.
You can wait till next break if you want.
There we go.
The hood. This would be a good look for those of you watching. Do the rest of the segment like this. Okay.
Please do.
Is it raining in your house?
I'm prepared if the roof starts leaking.
You are definitely prepared for a leak in the house for sure. Okay. So really good conversation with Pete Doherty. That was interesting. This thing as a whole is interesting. So, Willie, you wanted to bring to the table maybe I don't know. You take it wherever you want to take it.
These are my thoughts as I was listening to the interview there. And I've been thinking about this for the whole subject, right? We can have all kinds of fun on shows like this, talking about theoreticals, hypotheticals, fantasy trade offers. You know, Bill Barnwell has got all these, trade value. He tries to set up all these proposed trades. He's got the Titans on the list. And we have no idea if there's any real discussion or even thought in the Titans building of, should we take a look at this? It's rare that you would have a chance for one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time to be available to you, right? So you wouldn't be doing your job if you weren't at least maybe discussing. Even if you're only discussing, do we want to even go down this road? But one thing I thought about is we're talking about human beings involved. Now, last year, when the Tom Brady thing was out there, Ryan Tannehill's contract was up in the air, right? He was a free agent.
Right.
So it was totally right to weigh your options there. You had to, because Ryan Tannehill could have opted to go somewhere else in theory, right? Even though it looked like it was, he was happy here. He was doing great things. But is it different now? Like, how do you feel if you're Ryan Tannehill, if you find out that they actually are looking to try to make a move here? Can he be a pro enough to just let that roll off his back? Or does he have every right to say, well, what am I, chopped liver here? I've come in, I've played really, really well. I'm the leader of the team. Is that something to think about here?
Well, we're not talking about Jared Goff, okay? I mean, if we were talking about, Kirk Cousins or Jared Goff, then yeah, I think the answer is. But I mean, it's like saying, in radio, like you're sitting there, you're talking about bringing Howard. This is 2 days in a row. Like I never use this reference, but this
Howard
is 2 days.
Stern.
Like you're thinking about bringing Howard Stern to this radio station. Like what? Like I'm insulted. What? I mean, what would you? You're talking about Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. You're talking about two of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the league, not just this current time, like in league history. I believe they told us recently that they've been around for 100+ years, right? Yes. So I think we were told that by the league. They've been around a long time. So we're talking about two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Of all time. How can you really get offended by that? Like, honestly.
Well,
I understand what you're saying.
Because he's human. I think you would I don't care who it is, you would still have feelings. Like, I don't, and we don't know if this is going to happen, right? But if you did try to, let's just take a scenario. where the Titans actually do make an offer. They try, and it gets out. Adam Schefter reports it, and all of these other people.
Rappaport.
Start naming them. It comes out there. The Titans really made an offer. They made a run at Aaron Rodgers, and it didn't happen. He gets traded somewhere else, or the Packers decide to keep him, but it gets out there that they offered 2 firsts or whatever. And that's sitting there in that locker room throughout the season. I think that's a thing, right?
Sure, but 2 things. I think Ryan Tannehill is that much of a pro that he's just going to use it as motivation. Sure, there's a human element. He's going to, maybe behind the scenes he would be ticked off about it. Like, really? Like, have I not done enough to prove myself as the starting quarterback for this team? But he understands the business, and it's a win now business. But then secondly, I don't think this conversation is happening over there. I don't think it will happen over there. What have they done to really show us that it would? I mean, I think everything that we think might be logical when it comes to the Tennessee Titans, they almost do the opposite. Now, I'm not in there. I'm not behind those walls. I'm not in those meetings. None of us are. So, but I don't think this conversation has even come up. I think it's been well.
Are you saying that's wrong? Because I think there is an argument to say that's not a bad thing. Like, no, I do think there's something to be said. You do gain points, I think, by saying, I like my guys.
Right.
Yeah, this might be out there. I could take a run, but I like what I've got right here.
I believe that if John Robinson came on this show today and we asked him point blank, are you interested in Aaron Rodgers? And he gave the answer of, I like our football team. This is the guys that are here. That's what we're worried about. We're worried about this football team. I believe that's the same answer he'd give behind the scenes too. I truly do. You can disagree.
But that's a non-answer. Sure. What you gave, it gives him some wiggle room. That's the answer. That's the smart media answer that gives you wiggle room to do either one.
Okay, but
you're saying, what if he came out and said, no, Ryan Tannehill's my guy. He's our quarterback.
And so you don't believe there's been any discussion whatsoever privately?
No, I don't.
I obviously none of us know, but I think it's general manager malpractice not to have a conversation. A conversation privately.
Darren, I think that's a good answer. But the
nothing.
question, so you would not
it's malpractice not to have a conversation about it. Like, I would be extremely disappointed if the general manager of the Titans did not have a private closed door meeting about Aaron Rodgers.
That would be that's a strong point. But Darren, do you think so? As a general manager, your rule would be you cannot let the emotions of your current players play into your decisions.
Let me ask you something. Let's just bring it home even more. Okay, since we talk so much about the Predators. Okay, everybody. I think this is a fair comparison. Does everybody love Philip Forsberg?
Sure.
Is there any reason why anybody want Philip Forsberg to go anywhere? Has he done enough to earn everybody's trust and love and affection and think he's a tremendous talent, right?
Yeah.
So just like everybody feels about Ryan Tannehill, right? Doesn't make any waves, great guy, has produced, no reason. So if it was out there that Edmonton was looking to trade Connor McDavid and the Predators were rumored to possibly do a swap because it's just not going to work out. McDavid, they're having a rift just like Rodgers, and they got to get rid of him. And it's Forsberg for McDavid. Would you
see in a package of
whatever?
Draft
Yes,
picks, whatever.
Whatever that. But Forsberg, right, in a package of fill in the blank for Connor McDavid. You would sit here and say that you believe that David Poile would not, and the Predators should not look into that. They should just say, Philip's our guy, and we love him.
No. It's up to the player to be a
that's
pro.
The same.
I understand. Like Matthias Ekholm.
That's the same example, by the way. That's the same thing. That's what you're saying.
Pro. Matthias Ekholm handled it like a pro. He knew all of the trade rumors for a couple of months.
Yes.
Right, and he played great. Didn't let it.
And probably used it as motivation.
Maybe he did. But I do think these guys are human, right? These guys are human.
So I'll answer your question. Willie asked me about John Robinson, not David Poile. There's a difference. I think David Poile would have that conversation. I do.
Well, wait a minute. John Robinson hasn't been afraid to trade since he's been here. He's not a guy who sits on his hands.
No, but one, you got to look at the salary cap too.
What is the difference between Robinson and Poile? They're both just Poile's got a decades and decades, 40 years almost of this stuff.
But
John Robinson does it, but they both have been very active general managers.
Okay, you're right. But what does John always say that he wants? And I understand this is Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think he wants to deal with the diva either. I think he likes what he's got there and thinks he can win there, and that would shy him away too. Not saying that I agree with that. But
that's an interesting thought. I don't know if
you could disagree with me.
There's been enough proof that
but isn't that more of
John
Vrabel?
has said that
isn't
stuff.
That more a Mike Vrabel question than a John Robinson?
But they've brought in guys that don't fit that mold, and some have worked and some have blown up in their face. So I don't know if I necessarily believe that mold. I just don't, because there's proof that they haven't always done that, and sometimes it works and sometimes it hasn't. So I don't think I believe that. I don't believe it's like, hey, he's not a company guy. I don't want any guy who's going to make waves. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all.
And I mean, listen, the locker room deep down, like Derrick Henry, AJ Brown, all those guys, like if they hear the rumor that, hey, we're going after Rodgers, they could be thinking, man, we love Ryan, but be cool to have Rodgers.
Don't the Packers players love Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it that what's the most important? Like, how is he in the room? They love him.
Sure. But what I'm saying is you also don't want to risk with a team that just won a division. They went to the AFC title game 2 years ago. You don't want to risk a rift in the locker room by going after Aaron Rodgers either.
I'm just telling you.
Tom Brady was different because as Willie pointed out and we've pointed out, Tannehill's contract was up. And obviously, there are connections. And Brady was a free agent. So that's different than this situation. You're giving up assets to go get him.
And Tannehill has had another tremendous
season. Yeah.
In fact, the best season a quarterback has ever had in the franchise's history.
And as I said yesterday at the golf course, if it wasn't for Tom Brady and if it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers, I would not be having these conversations. I was pro Tom Brady all last offseason.
Yep.
I am pro Aaron Rodgers. It's laughable to me to say that you wouldn't. We played I could listen to Floyd Reese laugh every day on the show. I think we need to find a way to incorporate it every time we're on the air because it's just spectacular. But I'm pro because it's them. That's why I said it would be malpractice if you are not having at least a private conversation. I didn't say you have to pick up the phone and call Green Bay. I'm saying right now, today, if you're not at least discussing it behind the scenes, you're not doing your job. And I would feel the same way. Philip Forsberg is exactly like Ryan Tannehill. There's no reason not to love everything about them. Forsberg produces, he's been hurt a lot, so there is that, and people are getting frustrated with that. I'm sure he's getting frustrated with that. But Forsberg and Tannehill, great guys. Everybody loves them, fan favorites. They're producing. The franchises love them. But if the same shoe was there, or if the same example was there on the NHL side, and it was Connor McDavid, and you're telling me that David Poile isn't having a conversation, they're not even talking about, there's nothing to discuss, I would tell you the same thing. That's general manager malpractice. Thank you, Floyd. I mean, it just is. If the Titans are not at least discussing it privately, that's malpractice. You're not doing your job.
Describe the discussion. The discussion is who's involved. Amy's got to be involved on this one, I would think. So John Robinson, Vrabel, they sit there. Is the discussion, hey, should we make a phone call on Rodgers? No? Okay, cool. There you go. There's your discussion. That's what I think happened.
Well, if everybody just says no, then once again, that's laughable. You've got to be kidding me. Really?
But would you be surprised if that was the answer? You're looking at it from just running a football team and being a GM, and yes, it would make total sense to at least pick up the phone and kick the tires. I'm looking at it from they're an organization that loves continuity. I mean, we've gone down this saga with Vrabel and the defensive coordinator, and he finally puts the title on. But all his promotions since he's been here with his coordinators have come in-house to keep continuity. The players, yeah, they've gone, and signed some free agents and all of that. But I just think Tannehill's the guy, and I think that's what they think.
But you're talking about more of a staff, like what? So that's why the answer.
Talking about an organization.
For the answer as to why you would not explore it would be sort of loyalty and continuity.
Yeah. And I'm not.
I think there's something to be said for that, but we know that in the salary cap, it forces you to make the choices. Like, I don't know. I don't think Logan Ryan. I don't think Jarrell Casey. I don't think all of the guys they have let go would not have that same answer.
Sure.
Hey, wow, look at all the loyalty, because we know the salary cap. You cannot be loyal.
And that's another reason.
So if you're picking loyalty and continuity over the best player in the league, then I can't help you if you lose your job. I can't help you.
But the thing about it is,
but
here's where the continuity
nonsense.
comes in. The continuity comes in now. It's that to me. This is why you might consider it, because the continuity has already been upset a bit because you lost your offensive coordinator through no fault of your own.
Right.
So the system is going to be a little different. But that aside, you have a known quantity now in Ryan Tannehill that has been dynamite. I mean, he has been not far from Aaron Rodgers, right? That's something to be said.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not Aaron Rodgers, but he's not far. And so having the bird in hand is worth something, and not upsetting that force field. There's something to be said for that. Even though if you put him in a vacuum, hey, you want Aaron Rodgers or you want Ryan Tannehill? We know the answer to that question. One is way more decorated than the other. It's not even close. But there is something to be said for, here's what this guy has done for us. We know what he does. Everything we've done up to today has been moving forward with him. So do we really want to go and shake everything up that big? That's a big shakeup.
If you remove Derrick Henry from the equation, and he's no longer with the Titans, and you put Aaron Rodgers under center with, I don't know, whatever makeshift running back you've got back there, what would the season look like? And then you put Ryan Tannehill under center, same situation. What would the season look like? I can't sit here and tell you that it would look the same. Like
right,
Aaron Rodgers and Ryan Tannehill are just not that comparable.
And Darren,
sorry.
let me say,
Ryan Tannehill has had a great year and a half, 2 years. I'll give him 2 years, okay? But to sit here and act like they're on a level playing field is just ridiculous.
Who said that? Nobody said that.
But I mean, I get it, like his stats. But he's had Derrick Henry. Let's see how he operates without Arthur Smith. Let's see if it looks the same. Because I think Arthur Smith gets a lot of credit too.
But nobody said they were on a level playing field. I just got done saying that they weren't on the level playing field. I'm just saying you've done what you've done. It's a known quantity what you do have in Tannehill.
Right.
You're getting the best of him. He had the best numbers of any quarterback in franchise history. That's the best season anybody's ever had. So he's not at the age where it looks like he would, go downhill because of that. So he's basically in his prime. So you got something pretty good there.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for it being Aaron Rodgers, we're not having this discussion. That's my whole point.
So how about trading Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill for Aaron Rodgers? You want to do that?
Nope.
Why not?
Nope. Because that does you're trading away the best.
You just said it kind of didn't matter who the running back is what I just heard you said.
That is not the.
So
example.
why not just go ahead and trade
I just told you to put both quarterbacks under center in the Titans offense without Derrick Henry, and does the body of work look the same? Does Ryan Tannehill lead them to the same amount of wins as Aaron Rodgers?
So if it doesn't matter who the running back is, why not just save the 2 first-round picks and trade them Henry and Tannehill?
Okay. Well, we got to go. We don't have time to sit there and evaluate that. That
good topic,
makes
Willie.
No sense. Yeah, it's all right. We'll come back. Greg Wyshynski. We should switch gears. We talk a little hockey to start hour number 2 next.
This is Ryan Johansson, and this is Smashville. Across the line, drops now for Johansson. He scores! Ryan Johansson scores shorthanded. You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 of the game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, Sounds fans, it's Jeff M. here in Toledo, Ohio with your Nashville Sounds update on ESPN Nashville. No game last night for the Sounds and the Mudhens. They got rained out in northern Ohio, So it's a doubleheader later today, starting at 5:05 Central Time. 2 7-inning games to make up last night's postponement. The Sounds are still seeking their first win of the year. They've scored 12 runs and hit 5 homers in the first 2 games, but they've fallen 8-6 and 9-6 respectively against the Mud Hens, the top affiliate of the Detroit Tigers. It would have been Aaron Ashby and Logan Shore last night, a couple of prospects slated to get some work now on Friday as the Sounds and the Mud Hens play 2 7s starting at 5:05. I'll have the pregame later for you at 4:50 on ESPN 94.9. From Toledo, Ohio, this is Jeff M. with your Nashville Sounds update on ESPN Nashville.
Need some cash for that home improvement project? Hey, it's Willie Daunic. Loan Pronto can make it happen with their zero-cost refi program. Now listen, Loan Pronto is now here. It's changing forever how you'll get a home loan with lower rates, no lender fees, and an all-digital, no-hassle process. You can refinance your home mortgage now and get cash out of your home's equity. People getting checks for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Now that's a stimulus check. Hey, rates are still super low, and Loan Pronto's all-digital platform makes it easy. They can cover your closing costs. Call now. Get cash out now to fix up that home office or remodel your kitchen or even pay off credit cards. Loan Pronto's zero-cost cash-out refi. 615-499-5780. 499-5780, area code 615. Or loanpronto.com. 499-5780.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not available on all loans.
At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we talk to men about sexual health issues all the time. And the one thing we hear often is how erectile dysfunction often makes bedroom performance both a disappointing and intimidating experience for a man and his partner. If you're over 50, what I just described could very well be happening to you. ED is a performance destroyer. It ruins your confidence and makes what should be a wonderful time of intimacy both stressful and unfulfilling. If this is a problem in your life, the Tennessee Men's Clinic can likely change your situation dramatically. And I say this with confidence because the Tennessee Men's Clinic has helped thousands of men with treatments that have success rates as high as 90%. In fact, many patients are performing like they haven't in years. So make an appointment today. For just $99, you'll get a consult, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Contact your doctor if an erection lasts more than 4 hours. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra, results vary.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Wholesaling Studios, powered by RumbleOn.com. It's time for Darren, Daunic, and Chase, with hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Second hour, Darren, Daunic, and Chase here on this beautiful Friday morning here in Middle Tennessee. Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, Chase McCabe with you. Greg Wyshynski. Find his work on ESPN, ESPN.com. Does a great job as always. He's on the line with us. Greg, how you doing?
Doing well, thanks. Appreciate it.
Big one down in Tampa tonight. All eyes here in Nashville will be watching as the Lightning will host the Stars. There is something at stake before the Predators host the Hurricanes tomorrow night at Bridgestone Arena. We have found out that Curtis McElhaney will be in between the pipes. It will not be Vasilevsky. Dallas has Tampa tonight, and then they will be in Chicago Sunday and Monday night against the Blackhawks. Ultimately, how do you see this fourth spot in the Central playing out?
I see it as Nashville having like a 96% chance of making the playoffs right now. So you got to play the percentages and say it's going to be them. I mean, you know, the thing about Dallas is that it's maybe all just catching up to them. You know, they've had to play so many games in such a short period of time throughout this entire season, just because of the COVID interruption that they had at the beginning of the season. And then, you know, their state breaking basically due to an ice storm that kept them off the ice for even more time. And, you combine that with the amount of hockey they played in the postseason last year. It's kind of a veteran team in some places. And you can just kind of see the stress and strain of all of this hockey finally catching up with them. I mean, their last 5 games, they've managed to get a couple of loser points, but they've not won in regulation. Obviously you come into this game with Tampa tonight if you're them and you're seeing Vasilevsky. But I still think it's pretty straightforward that the Predators are going to be able to secure that 4th spot.
Do you believe Carolina's probably going to win the President's Trophy? Do you believe they are the team to beat going into the postseason play? Are you going to predict Carolina to get to the Stanley Cup final? How do you feel about the Hurricanes?
I feel that they're garbage because they killed me on the puck line last night. Oh my God! One nothing against Chicago, and the entirety of the game, and then they give up a goal to Chicago, and then they finally lose in overtime. I mean, it was a brutal one, boys. But yeah,
I had that same feeling with San Jose the other night, Greg.
Yeah, it was a bad scene. But no, I think they are a tremendous team. They've been building towards this for a while. Rod Brindamore, their coach, has them play outstanding hockey on both ends of the ice. Really meticulously put together. There's a lot of things around this team that you have to like. Not only the strength of their blue line, which has been the case for years, but also just the low-key offensive stardom that you get from guys like Aho and Svechnikov when he's on. Just a really fun team to watch, and a team that's starting to be able to beat you in a number of different ways. I think, offensively, this team can do well, but defensively for the last couple of years, I think they're a team that is sneaky great. Like, they're the kind of team where you look up and all of a sudden you realize that you haven't gotten a shot on goal against them in 10 minutes just because they haven't given you the puck. They're legit. They're very good. And I kind of like the fact they didn't trade one of the goalies at the deadline. The fact that they're going to have a kind of a 3-headed monster coming into the postseason and hoping that one of them can catch fire and be the guy.
We've talked to you over the years when we get to postseason play, and that's what's beautiful about Stanley Cup playoffs is it's so unpredictable. It's so hard to predict who's going to win. There's a lot of upsets, and it's never chalk. Hardly ever is it chalk in hockey. So with that being said, who do you think is on upset alert? I'll just give you let's just, for the sake of this conversation, go with the top teams today. So Carolina, Vegas, Pittsburgh, Toronto. Of those 4 teams, who is most prone to be upset first, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, it's always Toronto.
Until proven otherwise?
Until proven otherwise, right? I mean, like, we all have these grand designs saying this could be the year for them and how great it is they can avoid seeing Boston until the Final Four if they see him at all. But it's still the Leafs, and it's still a team that finds new and exciting ways to disappoint their fan base, even in years where it looks like they're going to be, primed to maybe finally win a championship. But joking aside, I mean, I think it's got to be Pittsburgh or whoever finishes in first place in the East. That division is, to me, very tightly packed. Not a lot of separation between the top 4 teams. I mean, granted, like, the Islanders right now are having a real struggle in almost every facet of their game, especially offensively. So maybe if you catch them, you maybe get a bit of a weaker opponent at this point. But, I just think when it comes to Pittsburgh, the Capitals, Boston, the Islanders, if they're playing okay, there's not too much separation between any of those teams. I'd be legitimately surprised if Vegas was beaten by the Blues, and I'd be somewhat surprised if Carolina doesn't make it out of the first round.
Okay, so let's see how you answer this one. So of the 4 seeds that are going to get in, they're going to have to obviously play the 1 seed in their division. Who do you give the best chance of pulling off the upset? Montreal, the Islanders, the Blues, or the Predators?
Well, I would have to go with the Islanders only because the thing about them is that even when they're playing poorly, they're going to be able to hang tight in games because of the anti-hockey that they play in the postseason of trying to keep these games so close and so low scoring. And, if you get a great performance from a Semyon Varlamov, then you can maybe beat anybody. So I still think I would probably lean towards them as the team that can be most prone for an upset just because of the style in which they play. But the one I would be intrigued by, even though I think Vegas is an exponentially better team, would be that Blues Vegas series, if only because of some of the interesting dynamics. The Alex Pietrangelo leaving the Blues to go to Vegas after the Blues didn't want him, and you have a redemption arc for Jordan Binnington in that series because he was absolute trash in the playoffs last year, and is trying to kind of redeem himself to be seen as a great postseason goalie, which he was a couple of years ago when they won the Cup. So there's a lot going on in that series beyond just the X's and O's on the ice. So I'm not saying they could pull the upset, but I'm intrigued by it.
Greg Wyshynski is with us. And Greg, you wrote a really good column about some things to look for as you move towards the playoffs here. One thing that's intrigued me, because, Darren was asking you about Carolina. We've seen all three of these teams, Florida, Carolina, and Tampa. They're all so impressive in their own way, but Tampa has got the stuff, to me. They've got more things that have to sort of fall into place quickly as they get Kucherov reacclimated. They got to work Stamkos back in now. They've lost him for a good while. If it all falls right, they've got the best team, I think, because they've got Vasilevsky. They've already climbed the mountain. But don't you think there's a little bit of in the first round, especially if they play Florida, which it looks very likely. In fact, isn't it interesting? The most likely scenario is, knock on wood, or keep your fingers crossed if you're a Predator fan, that they close it out. But it would be Carolina and Nashville, who play twice to end the season, and Florida and Tampa, who play twice leading into the postseason. But that's a little bit of a tough trick to pull if you're Tampa, I think, facing such a tough team in the first round.
It is. And I mean, that's a team that is obviously looking to take a chunk off you, too. I mean, as the weaker sibling in that state, this is going to be the first all-Florida playoff series we've ever had since these teams entered the league in the early 1990s. So this is very cool. We've been waiting a long time to see this kind of rivalry blossom between the Panthers and Lightning. Problem is that, I looked back at it. The Florida Panthers failed to qualify for the playoffs during the entirety of George W. Bush's presidency. Like, this is these are the kinds of droughts that we're looking at when it comes to this franchise and making the playoffs. It's going to be a great series. And like you said, the big mystery is, what are the Tampa Bay Lightning? How quickly does Kucherov get acclimated to playing again after sitting out the entire regular season? Stamkos, we not only are you wondering, what it's going to be like when he gets back, you're also wondering how long he'll be back for, because inevitably he's going to get hurt again, right? It's the playoffs. But you're absolutely correct. I mean, they are loaded from top to bottom, still probably the best roster in hockey, and every bit capable of defending a Stanley Cup champion with, for my money, the best defenseman and the best goalie in the league in Victor Hedman and Andrei Vasilevsky, respectively. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they are in the first round. But as I wrote today, there's just a part of me that wants to see if they can pull it off. I mean, the audacity of a team being able to not have a former MVP for the entirety of the regular season, still make the playoffs, and then get him back, and all the while it's the accidental flex of like all the salary cap space they were able to get that they needed is by putting their best player on the shelf. Like, the whole thing is just so audacious. I just want to see if they can pull it off.
Well, that does bring to mind something, Greg, that a lot of us have looked at, and I don't know specifically. I don't think I have a proposal, right, in a counter, but we also remember this. Patrick Kane broke his leg in 2015, and they put him on the shelf, and they said he's out for the season. And in the meantime, that gave them the cap space to trade for a couple of guys, right? They traded, and I'm trying to remember who it was. It was the center from the Coyotes, good face-off guy. I don't know why. He's the good, solid third line center, not a superstar or anything, but they added some pieces. And then, oh my goodness, Patrick Kane's ready to go. He's okay, and he's ready to go for the playoff series in the first round against the Predators. And he played great. They went ahead and won the whole thing. They made moves that they wouldn't have been able to make had they not been able to use that loophole. And it's like you're saying with Kucherov, they didn't intentionally do this, but at the same time, they were able to keep their team together and not have to suffer any consequences for not having him. right, or not have to make further moves. They were very smart in using what's available to them. Is that a flaw in the system in your mind, Greg? Is that something that needs to be looked at, or is that, hey, this is just how you play the game?
Yeah, I don't think it's a flaw. I mean, it's clearly a loophole. It's clearly, a workaround that teams have. But I think where the NHL has taken issue with teams maybe trying to circumvent the cap or whatever you'd call this type of situation is, I think they look at this differently because at the end of the day, it's a team losing a really good player from their lineup, right? So, if you're trying to cheat the system by, giving out those contracts that we saw where they bring down the minimum value of it.
Yeah, the 15-year deal.
Yeah. That's the kind of thing they frowned upon. By the way, I also didn't have a problem with that either. I think that's just smartly working the system as well. But then again, I'm a Devils fan who saw them get destroyed for the Kovalchuk contract. But I think when it comes to this, like, you're losing Patrick Kane, right? And you're losing Nikita Kucherov. Like, you're clearly sacrificing something towards this cap flexibility. And I think as long as that's happening, the NHL has less issue with it than it would in other situations.
So, Greg, let's put aside the conspiracy theory and all of the stuff with Tom Wilson. If you'd asked me a week ago, even when the Rangers were, I guess, on the verge of being eliminated, I would have said, hey, tough division. They've got the pieces in place, young team, a lot to like, right? Just need to add a little bit here, add a little bit there. And all of a sudden, boom, the general manager and the president are gone a week later. And the story that's coming out is, oh, no, it wasn't the statement and the fine and all that stuff that, we just didn't like where it was going. What happened there?
Well, it's the great equalizer. It's James Dolan. I mean, it's the agent.
I guess that is the answer, right?
Yeah, that's the agent of chaos inserted into this otherwise logical situation. And, from what I've called around the league in the last couple of days to try to get a sense of what's going on, there's no question that the current urban legend in the NHL is that, Dolan didn't like Gorton, maybe even on a personal level, felt the Rangers should be in a different place than where they are, contending for the playoffs this season. Didn't like the meticulous way that Gorton wanted to continue to approach this team, wanted to be more aggressive, and frankly, didn't like the fact that this roster had been embarrassed by the Islanders and the Capitals from a physicality standpoint in the last few weeks. So you add all that
that's
up.
Something that could be fixed from this year to the next year, right? You could work that in.
Completely. But if you also want all these changes to happen and also don't like the guy that's going to make them, then you act if you're James Dolan. Now, the thing I was going to say is that the John Davidson part of this, John Davidson, the team president, also left the Rangers this week. The urban legend around the league right now is that Dolan wanted to fire Gorton. JD's like, I don't think that's right, and then they're both gone. But the other thing I heard that was interesting too is this kind of speaks to the eventual move that they made. If you spend all your time talking about how the second in command, in this case, Chris Drury, is the golden boy. Like, they wouldn't let him interview anywhere. They wanted to keep him on staff. They created a position, associate general manager, for him so he can get a raise and stick around. If you keep saying over and over and over and over again how important this guy is, at some point, if your boss doesn't like you, he's going to be like, well, why isn't this guy the GM? So like, I think there might have been a little bit of that too, insofar as like moving forward with the team, but the timing of it stunk with regard to that statement. I don't think there's any way you can get around the conspiratorial theories about it, but it does very much just sound like James Dolan being impatient and, just like Tom Wilson did Tom Wilson things on Monday, James Dolan did a James Dolan thing on Wednesday.
Antoine Vermette is the guy I was thinking of, the center that they traded for in 2015 that they picked up. Patrick Kane, they had the cap space down the stretch to get it.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. We're talking to Greg Wyshynski of ESPN here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase. And, with the Tom Wilson stuff and the game on Wednesday, obviously it brought a lot of notoriety to the NHL, maybe for the wrong reasons, but people were paying attention because of what happened. And I'm curious, just from your point of view as somebody that covers the league on a daily basis, the league's coming to your network starting next year, from just a popularity standpoint is the way to put it. Where do you think the NHL is right now as they get ready to go in the playoffs, coming coming on the other side of the pandemic, and then being able to start a new TV deal next year. Where do you think they're at with all that?
Yeah, it's a complicated question because I think that the NHL is one of those properties that suffers by not having fans in the buildings. I think it's always been a sport that is at its best insofar as attracting new fans through the live experience versus anything that you see on television. And, I think when you have a packed building, when you have the chants and the cheers and the roars and the spontaneous reactions to things that happen on the ice is really when the total experience of watching a hockey game is at its apex. So, hopefully we get back there next season and it's a bit better. But, the game's at a really interesting place. I think where the Tom Wilson thing, and I wrote about this week, laid bare the problem with the NHL right now, which is that they're kind of in a purgatory of their own making. Like, they're so tethered to the old ways. The fact that this was a league built on violence and built on physicality for decades and decades and decades. And now they're at a point where it feels like the game wants to be more offensive. It wants to be more about skating and skill. It wants to be more Connor McDavid than Tom Wilson. And where the league is okay, you could kind of push it in that direction. Like, you could make rules changes. You could do things that would prohibit what we saw on Monday and Wednesday from happening if you wanted to, if you really wanted to push it in the other direction. And I wonder if that's not what they should do, considering how exciting this young generation of players is, considering what the young generation of fans might want to see rather than see like the Tom Wilson stuff. It's a real kind of like crisis of conscience, I think, for the NHL right now, insofar as like what the sport will eventually be. And also, like, if they did push it in that direction, how many fans they'd end up alienating who do prefer a more physical and violent style of game.
So what are some things now that, after this Stanley Cup final, they're going to be on two networks. They'll be on ESPN, they'll be on Turner. They'll have that reach, from those two companies. What are some things that you think the league can continue to do that, will help with the growth now that they have, and they're moving into the digital age too, where you can stream a lot of these games. And so the cord cutters will be able to watch. What are some things that you could see changing and that they could do to help the growth and the popularity?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head, which is availability. I think hockey fans have always been the most tech savvy of the big four. You can go back, in the last decade and just see the way that hockey fans have used social media and video and all sorts of things to really enhance their experience with watching hockey. But, one of the things that I'm the most excited about is the gambling aspect. We kind of talked about the puck line off the top of the show. But to me, the popularity of sports in the U.S. is not coincidentally tied to how easy it is and how fun it is to bet on them, like football and March Madness and things like that. And, there isn't a whole lot of education right now with fans as to how to bet hockey. And the idea that we're getting to a place where you could have your phone in one hand and then the minute overtime starts, you could be betting on the players you think could score the game-winning goal and stuff like that. I mean, the depth and breadth of what to bet on and the immediacy of it and the availability of it, I think it's gonna change how people approach hockey as a sport. I mean, we could talk all we want about rules changes and young superstars and McDavid and Matthews and all this other stuff, but the bottom line is that if you and your buddies are at a bar and you turn to your friend who's never watched a hockey game and you're like, you can bet on 100 different things this period, you might watch it.
And you might get some new fans out of it, right?
Precisely. Like, to me, and I've been writing about hockey forever. It's always been about create as many entry points to the sport as you possibly can, because people don't play it and people don't know the rules and they think it's kind of weird and alien and Canadian, and the more ways that you create entry points for fans, whether it's because you like watching a certain team or a certain player, or because you like to bet on it, or anything, like, it's just going to make it finally achieve the popularity that every hockey fan, believes it can and hopes that it can. And I truly believe that as we get more into puck and player tracking and getting more data information from games that these sports books can create prop bets on and stuff like that, it's going to really open up this game to completely new audiences. And I know the betting thing scares people. And I know it's not ever for everybody. I know that there's a certain demonization of it, but it's undeniable that Like I said, the more popular sports in the U.S. are clearly the ones that generate much more gambling revenue than the NHL does. And I think that's going to change dramatically in the next decade.
I'll tell you this, Greg. I was out in Vegas earlier this week and was watching games Monday at a sports book, the Circa. If you haven't been there, I highly recommend it. It was awesome. And obviously the Knights were playing that night, so there were a good contingent of Golden Knights fans that were there to watch. But I'd hear the Bruins would score, and you'd hear some cheers, and there were people there watching all of the games and obviously placing bets. But I think you're right. I think that is going to be a big way that you're going to see a growth. And then also, I mentioned the digital part of, having ESPN Plus be like a WWE network where you can go watch old games or, different exclusive things, I think is huge too.
Yeah. And not to talk about us or Turner or any of that stuff. I've just said for years that having the National Hockey League on multiple networks in the U.S. was always the key. And to have it just monolithically be on one network was never what the sport should have done. You look at baseball and basketball and the NFL, and it's multiple networks reaching different audiences through different ways. And I think this is it's a great time for hockey fans to be able to have it on two different networks and really reach audiences. Whether you're watching Around the Horn or AEW, you're going to see an advertisement for the National Hockey League next season.
Yeah, and I think it'll be cool for sure. Greg, always good to talk to you, and we will. Hey, it's almost playoff time. We'll do it again soon.
You got to take care.
Greg Wyshynski, ESPN, joining us. Always appreciate the conversations with him. There's more to get into with the NHL, but first I got to talk to you about bets. He brought up gambling. I was out in Vegas. I actually went to a BetMGM sportsbook, so that was a lot of fun to experience that. But baseball players, they don't always get the style points for the home runs, but if you're a bettor, you sure can. New BetMGM customers can turn $1 into $100 when someone goes yard during a game. Sign up for the BetMGM app using the code 1025game100, and if you place a $1 moneyline wager on the Braves or the Phillies, you'll get $100 if either team hits a home run. After the baseball has left the park, there's no reason to leave your seat. Discover all that BetMGM has to offer with their innovative parlay selection builders, daily promotions, boosted odds specials, and much more. I take advantage of all those things all the time. Download the app or go to betmgm.com. Use that bonus code 1025game100 to win $100 when you bet on the Braves or the Phillies and either team hits a home run. Swing for the fences with BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. New customer offer, paid in free bets. You must be 21 years or older, must be in Tennessee. Visit BetMGM.com for a full list of terms and conditions. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Tomorrow night, it's game day in Smashville.
He scores! Roman Yossi scores in overtime!
The Preds look to clinch a playoff spot when they host the Canes.
We got to find a win to get into the playoffs. That's of the utmost importance.
Pre-game at 6, face-off at 7 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Zach Allen here with Buddy Allen Carpet One. And over the last 5 years, you've helped us raise nearly $100,000 for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Tunnel to Towers builds smart homes for injured war heroes, pays off the mortgages of Gold Star families, and the families of first responders killed in the line of duty. This year, they need our help more than ever. Please visit BuddyAllenCarpet1.com to learn more about the great work that Tunnel to Towers does and click the link to donate today. From the entire Buddy Allen family, we thank you for your support.
Family Leisure invites you to vacation at home with a new spa, pool, patio furniture, or wood play gym this summer.
I really want a spa.
40 spas on display from Artesian, Best Spas, and American Select.
Prices starting as low as $29.99.
Family Leisure has over 100 sets of patio furniture with free delivery.
That sounds good to me, too.
We should really look at the wood play gyms for the kids. Family Leisure has the Diamond Point swing set on sale at only $24.99 installed. Family Leisure's vacation at home sale in Franklin and Antioch.
It's time for some straight talk. Sure, saving money feels good, but cutting your wireless bill in half, that feels really good. Like walk-off home run in the 9th inning kind of good. Okay, maybe not that good, but pretty darn good. With Straight Talk, you can get 25 gigs of high-speed data for $45 a month, up to 50% less than the other guys. Plus, no contract. All on America's best networks. Why pay a whole lot when you could pay half? Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
This is Carl Sholin, St. Andrew Sewanee School Head of School, where we are currently accepting enrollment for our summer overnight camp. This is a great opportunity for children in grades 5 through 12 to get back to the fun of being kids. Learn more at sasweb.org.
Bob's Steak and Chop House is a renowned award-winning steakhouse in major cities across the U.S. Nashville is lucky to have a location here in downtown at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Fine dining is brought to a new level at Bob's with awards like the Wine Spectator Award 4 years in a row, TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, and Open Tables Diner's Choice Award 6 years in a row. Fine dining at its best. Bob's Steak and Chop House, open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 to 10 p.m. in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Complimentary valet parking is always available.
Saturday afternoon, it's an interleague showdown from the Bronx when the Washington Nationals visit the New York Yankees. Coverage begins at 11:30 on ESPN, 102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Don't miss the Cure for Our Friends Cystic Fibrosis Golf Tournament. That'll be May 15th at 12 Stones Golf Course in Goodlettsville. Some of the teams include retired Titans football players who will be hanging around after the tournament for an after party, which includes catered dinner and live music. Cure for Our Friends Golf Tournament still has a need for some silent auction items. For more information, you can be found at cureforourfriends.org. Once again, cureforourfriends.org. Thank you to Dad's Towing, Mitchell Motors, and Nashville Wrecker Services for being the tournament sponsors for the 2021 Cure for Our Friends Cystic Fibrosis Golf Tournament. Remember, that's May 15th at 12 Stones Golf Course in Goodlettsville. Keep in mind, you just made the list coming up at high noon.
So ready for that.
Great prize for that. Great prize. The festival, the festival that's coming to Franklin, that festival we've been talking about, Dave Matthews Band and
It's about pilgrims.
Tanya Tucker.
Yeah, Tanya Tucker, Cage the Elephant, Aaron Morris.
I mean, the whole spectrum is there. If you don't have a band that you like somewhere there, you just don't like any music.
Right, true. You're not going to that festival.
Your scope is pretty narrow if you can't find at least one or two bands that you like there.
Agreed. So that's what's on the line, but you're going to have to participate. You're going to have to tell us who or what has made you mad. That's coming up at high noon. All right, let's talk about this roster. Let's talk about what John Hines is going to do the rest of the way and hopefully beyond past Monday. What do you guys foresee? There's been a lot of switching around lately. You had Colton Sissons miss a game after playing 52 straight. He's the last Predator to play in every game, so no Predator on this roster will play in every game this season, but he was back in there centering that fourth line of Jeannot and Trennan. You had Brad Richardson sticking on that third line. He went back up to the third line. He was on that fourth line, pushed him back up to the third line. He's been playing well with Haula and Duchesne. You had Duchesne play, 11 minutes, a little bit over 11 minutes in Wednesday's loss. And the top line has been Forsberg, Johansson, Tolvanen, Jarnkrok, Granlund. Cunnin obviously has been fantastic. You had a little bit of a switch with Dante Fabro returning to the lineup. It was Fabro and Harper as the third D pairing instead of Branson and Benning. And the first two D pairings remain the same. Yossi, Ellis, Ekholm, Carrier. Anybody see anything? So Cousins wasn't in there. Anybody see anything that what do you think are going to be some tough decisions John Hines has to make moving forward?
Let's clarify one point before we go to the Predators roster. By the way, when do they take the ice today? Is that going to be something?
11.
Yeah, well, it's 11:30, but we haven't had any tweets out about any clues we might have on your question, Darren. I don't see anything.
No.
Yeah,
I've not seen anything.
Well, I believe today was picture day. I was just seeing tweets about that. So they were doing their team photo today, which they're using the reverse retro for that. But
they are. So that means that they have not done their on ice work yet. So maybe we'll find out something along those lines in a minute. But I wanted to make one point on McElhaney starting tonight for Tampa. I think we foresaw this earlier in the week. So I just in case people are like, oh, why would you play McElhaney? Well, remember, they play at Florida tomorrow. And Tampa and Florida are very much battling for second place and home ice advantage in that series. The magic number for Carolina is 2 over both of those teams. So it's possible that you could catch Carolina. It's certainly not probable.
And this is Tampa's game in hand, by the way, tonight against Dallas.
Correct. So if Tampa wants to win, but I think if you're John Cooper, you understand that tomorrow night's game would be the priority. I would think you're trying to win both.
And
right?
But Tampa holds right now. Well, they're going to win the row. So if there's a tie, they're going to win row. So they will get the second seed.
Our regulation wins is the first tiebreaker. Row regulation / overtime wins is the second tiebreaker.
Okay, so they've got both.
Yes.
How about that?
So I'm hoping you see a motivated Tampa, but they're also not going to do it at the expense of playing Vasilevsky, too much. Now, McElhaney, as we know, they're not the same team when McElhaney's in there. You have to hope he plays really well. For example, Predators have beaten the Lightning twice.
It was McElhaney.
McElhaney both times, right? They lit him up both times. Not so much with Vasilevsky. You know what's interesting is you asked Mike Kelly the question yesterday about goalies who have success against certain teams, and he was giving you sort of the mathematical question of, the statistical question, is that really a thing? I think all of us who watch emotionally, you're like, yeah, that's a thing, right? Predators used to own Vasilevsky.
Well, Pekka has owned Tampa. Doesn't he have a very, really, really good record against Tampa?
Right. And so I guess that would be maybe a point along the lines of Mike Kelly's theory is it can change, right? Vasilevsky, the Predators beat him every time. And like you said, most of the time it was Pekka in the other goal, right? He played great against Tampa. So it does turn around. This year, Vasilevsky is 5-0 against the Predators. I think McElhaney's 1-2.
6-0.
No, McElhaney's 1-2. McElhaney has one of the wins.
Yeah, I was going to say they're 2-6. They went 2-6 against Tampa.
Yeah, McElhaney has 1 win and 2 losses. Vasilevsky is 5-0. So it's a really interesting question. But the bottom line is tonight, Dallas has an opportunity to play against Tampa without the best goalie in the world in there. So the mindset all day long and really all week long, and I think John Hines has said this from the time the game ended on Wednesday, is we have to focus on doing it ourselves, right? We have to be fully prepared for Dallas to win the game tonight, put the screws to Nashville, and Nashville's got to figure out a way to get it done on their own tomorrow night. Now, that's one thing that could happen is if Tampa loses, then Carolina has clinched.
Correct.
Right? And so they don't have
anything to play for.
Necessarily anything to play for other than just staying sharp. So I don't know what that would do to their lineup or not do to their lineup. Carolina's 9-0-4 in their last 13. They're a 13-game point streak. So all that in the backdrop. So Chase, I'll throw it to you.
Hence why they're going to win the President's Trophy.
Yeah.
Right.
So Chase, give me your thoughts on the lineup, because there was one thing that Darren sort of ducked in there that I think is something that will be something to watch. Matt Duchene was more or less benched in the third period, at least to some degree. He was in there some, but I think there was a message sent to him.
Sure. And
is there a further message, or will he be back in there?
I think he's in there. I think a thing to watch is Arvidsson. What's his availability when is he going to be good? And be able to get back in there.
I'd be surprised if he's available for either of these 2 games.
Yeah.
But that is a good question down the road, is when is he going to be available?
Right.
I don't think we really know.
He's
in the week-to-week category.
Sure. So are you going to have him when you start the playoffs? That's
you got to get. I mean, I'm still in the mode of you got to get there. Like I'm thinking, what about tomorrow's lineup? Like,
sure.
Cousins.
I kind of wonder if Cousins is back in there. If you maybe swap Cousins and Richardson. And I know Richardson's played well since he's been back, but Cousins was the one that, when when we were talking about this before of, okay, who do you take out? You know, you couldn't take anybody off the herd line out because of how they were playing. You know, Jano again scores the other night. Cousins was the one that I said, well, I guess you take him out by default, or it's just because you have to pick somebody, but I didn't feel great about it. So I wonder if they swap him back in. Harper would be the other one that I think could potentially come out. I don't know about you guys. I was a little surprised that Benning came out. I thought that Benning, for the most part this year, has played well. He's kind of fit the role that they've asked him to do. So I was a little curious on that one, but so I could see Benning going back in.
But I think the reason, and I got to double check this, is, or one of the reasons anyway, is Benning and Fabro each shoot the same way. Isn't that right? One of them.
I think that's right.
They're
Yes,
either
that's right.
both left or both right. I am the worst at remembering left-right shots.
Well, Harper was on the
pitchers.
right.
I can always name who the lefties are.
Well, wasn't Harper on the right side?
Right, they are,
Wednesday?
and they are opposite. Fabro and Harper are opposite hands. So you had a righty and a lefty in there. I can't remember which one's which, but I think that was part of the thinking with Fabro coming back, is put him with somebody who's playing on their strong side. Plus, with Harper, you have a little more size in there. The other thing was that Harper had been kind of banged up, and they thought he would be more rested. Now, let's see how they thought he played, or they thought those two guys played. I didn't think they were great, right? So there might be an adjustment there on the third pair. It's good to have all these choices, though. That's the one thing that has started happening as bodies have started to come off of the injured list, is now you have some competition.
But I think you'd like to, if you're John Hines, you'd like to find the consistency and find that lineup that you can go, okay, I feel comfortable rolling with this unless I got to make a change because of injury.
Well, with Carolina, Mike Kelly spelled it out great in the interview you guys had with him yesterday. Carolina has, and hey, listen, all you had to do was watch the last time these two teams played. Carolina's forecheck is relentless. They are so fast and quick and on top of you. If you don't have defensemen who can move the puck accurately and quickly up the ice, think about basketball. If you're playing a pressing team, in my era, it was Rick Pitino's Kentucky team. So good at that, right? Nolan Richardson, Arkansas, 40 minutes of hell. They're on top of you. They're going to force you into mistakes. You had to have back then guards who can handle pressure, right? Hit the open man, play in the frenzy there, and burn them back the other way. So that's something maybe the Predators have to think about. What does Dante Fabro do well? Well, he's a good puck mover, right? So he's got to get the rust off quickly, but he's got the capability of handling that forecheck better than, let's say, Eric Branson, who's more of a big, strong, physical guy, not as good of a puck mover, right?
Stay-at-home defenseman.
More stay-at-home, exactly. So what lineup succeeds against Carolina? That's going to be part of the question, part of the answer to your question, Darren, that they have to sort of sort out is, What gives us our best chance to be effective against that particular team?
Yep, and it's the team they haven't been able to figure out this year.
Exactly.
So what are they going to do? I mean, let's just get down to the bottom of this. I mean, how many more? I mean, you're talking about yet again. Here we are talking about the Deshanes. How long can they honestly keep doing this with a guy who's got like 7 more years and $8 million a year? Like, I'm being serious. Like,
yeah.
How many more times can we keep talking about this before this is? I mean, you're not going to do this for the next 7 years. I mean, here we go again with this, and it's.
Well, in the offseason,
look, I feel, you know what it feels like, and I've said this before. It's starting to feel like the Kyle Turris situation. Like it's getting
right. Like you've tried everything.
It's getting awkward, right? It's getting weird, right? They keep trying all these things, and at some point, you run out of options. You run out of all the strings to pull, behind the scenes and everything you have to do. You exhaust everything you've got in your artillery, and in your arsenal, and then that's it. And then what? And I'm not saying they're there. I'm just saying, like, it's starting to feel like that. It's starting to go down the same exact Kyle Turris path. And it's like, okay, we've seen how this ends. So what are they going to do? I mean, it's not like Matt Duchene doesn't know what it takes to crack this lineup. He has watched for a good portion of this season.
Right. And he says the right things.
Of course.
Where he is a pro in the interview settings where he acknowledges all of these things that he has to do to be successful and the team has to do to be successful. So there's a couple of different levels here, right? There is what to do after the season is over, long term, right? With his contract, how is it working?
Yeah.
What are their options? And then there is what to do about it right now. Because A, you've got to get to the playoffs. You still got a little meat on the bone there. And then there's B, how do you use them in the playoffs? And all of this is sitting in front of them. Like, I think this is the dilemma. If I'm part of the coaching staff, right? How am I going to find a way? What gives me the best chance of beating Carolina? Can I beat Carolina if 4 times out of 7, if Matt Duchene is not part of it? I mean, I got to make some plays against Carolina, right? Carolina just doesn't give you anything, right? You're just not there. You're not going to just rain 45 shots on them. I mean, maybe once in the series you could, maybe on an off night, or you're jacked up and you're making plays. But by and large, I need guys who can, in small windows of opportunity, make a big play. So I think that's a strong argument, is I got to have Duchene in there.
Okay, let's pause. Let's pick this up on the other side to close out hour number 2. But first, Willie, you're going to tell us about Loan Pronto.
I will do that pronto. Loan Pronto, of course, a great sponsor of ours. And what they do is pretty simple. They've taken a process, the refinance process of your home, and they have basically said, you know what? We're going to make this a lot easier on you, the customer. We know how effective refinancing your home is now with the interest rates that are there. If you have not taken the time to look into refinancing your home, you need to do that right now, and do it with Loan Pronto, because they have taken this process and streamlined it. I've been through it a number of times over the course of the time we've owned our home that I'm sitting in right now. But man, it is a tedious process. Well, not anymore. Loan Pronto helps you out with that, because they have made it newer, faster, easier, less expensive. And you can get that mortgage rate down, and you can get your monthly payment down. Call now to learn more. You want to ask about the zero-cost refi. 615-499-5780. 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Don't forget about the incredible VA loan rates that they have available. Loan Pronto specializes in VA streamlined loans. It makes it easy. So you can take out 30, 40, 50 grand in cases for that home improvement project you're looking for, or getting cash out to wipe clean those credit card bills. 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Ask about that zero-cost refi. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. No cash refi. Not available on all loans.
Listen to us talk sports out of our app. That's a heck of an investment. How cool was that story? Single.
They're out shooting teams.
I think he's a good player.
Day.
Okay, good talk.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Back to sunshine and calmer conditions today. Afternoon highs will be heading to the upper 60s and lower 70s. Storms back on both Saturday and Sunday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the happy face truck today.
312 Pizza Company is family owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville. 312 Pizza Company specializes in deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, and all things Chicago style. And always made from scratch using secret family recipes passed down generation to generation. 312 Pizza is open 7 days a week and located in Germantown with dine-in, takeout, and curbside available. Call 615-730-7888 to order 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Being a mom is one of the toughest jobs around during a normal year. And this past year was anything but normal. So this Mother's Day, Genesis Diamonds invite you to join us in celebrating and appreciating the mothers in our lives. Stop in and let one of our trusted advisors help you find a special, meaningful gift. Layering necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. Great Mother's Day ideas for any budget. There's no doubt we love Mom, but sometimes a little extra appreciation goes a long way as a thank you for helping us through challenges, making more sacrifices, and always putting the family first. So whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th, Mom deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. And at Genesis, that's our specialty. Timeless gifts of jewelry that she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come, and always be reminded of how special she is to the family, especially after a year like we've just had. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Ryan Porth here for TwinSpire Sportsbook, which I'm excited to announce is now live in Tennessee, and they're coming out of the starting gates with their best offer yet for new players with 1 week of risk-free bets up to $1,000. I know I can't wait to take advantage of this, and you want to as well. Just download the TwinSpires app using promo code FREE1000 to get started. Void where prohibited, must be 21 or older and physically present in Tennessee. See full terms and conditions at twinspires.com. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Robbie Stanley.
I was waiting in anticipation for something to happen.
Joe Rexrode.
It's also 3-on-3. It's a little easy to score in 3-on-3. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can take this.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. If you've missed any of today's show, just search Darren, Daunic, and Chase on Apple, Spotify, or on your favorite podcast platform.
You just made the list coming up at high noon. Great prize attached to it, but you're going to have to get involved. It's that simple. You're going to have to pick up the phone and dial it. 615-737-1025. It's coming up in about 10 minutes back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase on this gorgeous Friday here in Middle Tennessee. Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, Chase McCabe with you. Willie, I thought you said it best. So you're right. There is two layers to this Matt Duchene equation. There's what do you do long term? That's the offseason discussion. So let's table that. Let's push that aside. And there is what do you do now? There's 2 games remaining in the regular season and hopefully some playoffs to talk about next week. So what do you do about the immediate future? So how do you handle the Matt Duchene situation? Because here's the deal. Here's what's alarming to me. We've been praising that line, right? We've really been Eric Halla has been playing really, really well. The third line has been productive. There's not been issues. And when Matt Duchene first entered in the lineup, he was doing fine too. He's not scoring, but he was playing really well. And here you are in game 54. If you're having to send a message yet again to Matt Duchene, like, where are we at with all of this? Like, I can't imagine, like, really?
It's incredibly frustrating because he is such a talent, right? And if you take a look, Mike Kelly said this yesterday. If you look and you know what you're looking for in analytics, you can find some really good analytics from Matt Duchene. And he himself references it sometimes. You know, the Corsi, in other words, shot attempts while he's on the ice, how many you get, how many you give up, they tend to go his way. Scoring chances, they tend to generate scoring chances when he's on the ice. But there is that coach's level and team level of accountability, things that don't show up in there, right? Reliability of the little things to lock down. Such as, and I don't want to put it all on him at all, but the example would be in the last game, they took the lead 2-1. It's a battle. It's tight. they catch a break. Patrick Laine, who has got some of the same issues, right? Why does he get benched?
I mean,
right?
passing to no one when he passed it to the boards.
He passed it all the way up. He should have gotten an assist. He made a perfect pass to Callie Yarncroke.
He did.
Callie Yarncroke was coming into the game. He came over the boards from the bench. The puck comes right to him.
Yep, breakaway.
Patrick Laine was in a good position to attack. He drifted back. He tried to make a perfect pass, missed everybody.
2-0.
Turns into a 2-0. Nashville cashes in. But, Matt Duchene was on the ice. And look, this happens, right? Everybody makes mistakes, but it stung because Columbus cashed in. The puck is dumped in. Matt Duchene is coming back. He's in position to handle the puck. He misses it. And it goes right to the other team, Oliver Bjorkstrand, who happens to be their best goal scorer this year. He turns. He doesn't get quite in position to block the shot, and he's sort of in between, right? He's not blocking the shot, and he's also screening the goalie. And a good shooter buries it. And suddenly, instead of going into the locker room up 2-1 potentially, it's 2-2. And that's when he didn't get the assignments in the third period. So this is not necessarily just my assessment, because I don't know. Like John Hines he did not try to show him up at all. But the fact is, you could see he wasn't on the ice.
But he was basically saying that wasn't injury related.
He was asked about it. Sending a message, right? That hey, we got to make that play.
He didn't go into detail, but he was saying, yeah, it wasn't. He was saying it wasn't because of injury. So therefore, you connect the dots.
My thing is, and I'm not discounting any of the analytics stuff that you just threw out there, because I have learned, especially working with you and Calvin Smith that used to work here. I've learned more about analytics. I know they're important. But at some point, you got to see, he's got to pass the eye test. You got to see more of the obvious stats pop up for a guy like that, based on his contract, based on his history, all based on his role on the team. You just have to have the results, and the analytics just aren't enough.
Right. And so that is exactly the point, Chase, is if there is going to be mistakes, there are plenty of players that have played in this league a long time.
Sure.
That make a lot of mistakes and have some of the same things where you're scratching your head going, what did he just do? I'll give you one who used to play for the Predators, Alexander Radulov. When he was young,
oh boy,
you would hold your hat. It was like, oh boy. Barry Trotz, he would be like, if I put him out there, what is going to happen? He might be the hero, but he might be the hero for the other team, Yeah. But you got enough for the most part because he was going to deliver big plays, right? So the worst thing is you got a Matt Duchene who's capable of making a lot of big plays, and for whatever reason, there's been not enough of those, right? You can have the mistakes if you're turning around and making great plays the other way.
Remember, he's got a huge contract, and we're talking about a guy who's playing on the third line and getting benched.
Right.
I mean,
and
I don't look. You can circle around this and tap dance all you want, but it's a guy playing on the third line with a huge contract, and we're still talking about him getting benched. It's not good enough. Let's just call it what it is.
Sure.
And for a guy that does say all the right things and is great to deal with and is so likable. But he is getting paid, and that's part of it when you get the big contract, and this is how it works in sports. And you're going to get scrutinized for this. And if he was making $2 million a year, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. It wouldn't even be that big of a deal, but he doesn't. And that's why probably Callie Yarncroke, he gets heaped with even more praise, because not only is he playing really well, he's
making $2 million a year.
What an incredible contract that has been. 6 years, $12 million. And look at the production they've got out of Callie Yarncroke this season, or not the season, but in the life of that contract. It's been a steal for the organization, an absolute steal. But, that's not the case. He's a guy that's got a very long contract, making lots of money, playing on the third line, and we're still talking about a guy that just played over 11 minutes and barely played in the third and was benched. It's just not good enough. Even if you look at Corsi, no matter what you're looking at, the bottom line is the head coach is saying it's just not good enough. And at some point, like the time is now. Like they have to get production out of him. He is paid to produce. It's not about, opportunities or shot attempts. he's got to produce. That's why he got the big that was a big part of him getting the big contract. And maybe his pushback is, back to what we were talking about before, that, hey, I'm a centerman. I'm not playing on the center. I'm playing on the wing. Yeah. And, maybe I need to be at center. I don't know. I don't know what Matt Duchene's pushback would be on this. I just know that, I don't know. I don't know what John Hines is going to do, because he has set a precedent that you have to play a certain way or you don't play. But is he really going to do that with Matt Duchene and his contract? Is he really going to sit him if he's not playing the way that they need to play, or he's not producing to the level they need to produce him? If so, then what's next? I mean, what are you going to do now? I mean, this has happened before. I mean, it certainly happened on Peter Laviolette's watch. It's happened on John Hines. Is you going to push him to the fourth line? I mean, what's next?
Every coach has to make tough decisions like this.
Yeah.
Terry Crisp has great stories about his 89 championship team, the deciding game. He had some heartbreaking, gut-wrenching decisions on who to put in the lineup for the final game. And he said, no matter who I sat, those people were going to absolutely hate my guts.
Yep.
But these are the tough decisions coaches have to make. Remember, we sat in Winnipeg and we were watching from the perch up there when we saw Kevin Fiala skating with the extra guys. And we were like, oh boy, he has benched Kevin Fiala for this massive, massive game. And then they went the other way. He put Kevin Fiala back in, and he took Scotty Hartnell out. And everybody's, half the fans go nuts one way or the other when you make a tough call like that. So they're in a position like that. They could, let's presume that Dallas wins tonight, and you got to win it in tomorrow. Who would you rather have in there? Somebody maybe a little less likely to make a big play for you, but also maybe a little less likely to make a big mistake. That's sort of the choice, I think.
We come back with You Just Made the List to start the third hour. That's next.
Saturday night.
Through to Forsberg, breaking in. He scores!
Philip Forsberg and the Predators return home to square off with the Hurricanes in a potential playoff preview. Pregame at 6. Face off at 7 on Smashville's Best Sports Talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
electronicexpress.com. We make it happen. Bob's Steak and Chop House is a renowned award-winning steakhouse in major cities across the U.S. Nashville is lucky to have a location here in downtown at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Fine dining is brought to a new level at Bob's with awards like the Wine Spectator Award 4 years in a row, TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, and Open Tables Diner's Choice Award 6 years in a row. Fine dining at its best. Bob's Steak and Chop House, open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 to 10 p.m. in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Complimentary valet parking is always available.
Hey, it's Turron Davenport. You ever had to sit and wait for 2 hours or longer to get new tires put on your car? Well, you don't have to do that anymore. Call my friends at Freedom Tire Guys. They're Nashville's premier mobile tire company that does it all. New tires, balance, rotation, everything. And they come to you. Your work, your job, your house, you name the spot. Head online to freedomtireguys.com, fill out their tire calculator, pick your new tires, and schedule your service date. It's that easy. If you don't see something you like, give them a call and they'll find it for you. Check them out today at freedomtireguys.com.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. A Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 6677 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 6677. Enjoy.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
1025 The Game. Live from the Wholesale Link Studios, powered by RumbleOn.com. It's time for Darren, Daunic, and Chase, with hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe on Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Are you angry? No, really. Has that one person got you fuming? Well, call them out. Now's your chance to tell them.
You know what? You just made the list.
You just made the list. Here we go. Let us know who's on your list. Call 615-737-1025. You just made the list. Now, on Darren, Daunic, and Chase.
All right, it's therapy time. We do this every Friday on the show. It's time for you to release and feel good going into the weekend. Let go of what's been making you mad. Someone or something has made you mad this week. We know it. It's called life. It just happens. It presents itself. So who or what has made you mad? We've got great prize attached. You're going to have to earn it. You have to call in and participate. Let's load up the lines. 615-737-1025. 737-1025. That is our phone line driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. We've got a pair of 2-day passes to the Pilgrimage Festival Saturday and Sunday, September 25th and 6th. That's at the farm at Harlansdale in Franklin. Some of the artists that you can hear: Dave Matthews Band, the Black Keys, Maren Morris, Cage the Elephant, Tanya Tucker, Better Than Ezra, and a lot more. Great prize, but you need to tell us who or what has made you mad. Who would like to start?
I'm ready.
Go.
I've been ready for a few days.
Okay.
So we've all we've all flown. Okay, I think we've established that on this show, and we're all familiar with Southwest Airlines and how
was that a question? You weren't
No,
really asking, right?
it was rhetorical. Yeah, we're all familiar with Southwest Airlines and how their boarding procedures work. Okay, you check in, you get a boarding group and a boarding position. That's how you get on the plane. Okay, very simple, easy process. So I'm coming back from Vegas. My buddy Rick and I, we're right there together, same boarding position, and we're standing in line.
You're coming back from Vegas?
Coming back from Vegas.
Okay. Are we feeling good at this point, you and Rick? I mean, was on the trip.
Rick's feeling great.
You did have shirts on, correct?
We had shirts.
Okay, good.
It was a little rough from that standpoint, but we're feeling all right.
But you're feeling all right, though. You're over.
I'm feeling maybe a little worse than him from a physical standpoint and from a beverage intake standpoint the night before, but hanging in there.
Okay, you're hanging in.
Yeah. So we're standing there to board. They call our group. Everybody's in line. You're asking people around you, like, hey, what number are you? What number are you? Okay, cool.
Yeah, trying to get in the right batting order.
We're good.
You don't want to bat out of order.
The process starts. We start moving through the line. And then, bam, here comes two people screeching up through the line. Just go. Boom. There they are. There's my cat. They come just screeching up through the line. And I'm like, what just happened? And they get in between Rick and I. Like Ricky has scanned his, and these two people, it's just bam, bam, scan their boarding pass before anybody can like realize what just happened. And I'm kind of like, huh? And the gate agent doesn't really do anything, doesn't say anything. And I happen to look down at the phone because their process was not super quick. Like she scanned hers and then she had to flip to the guys and scan his. And I saw their boarding position was well behind where we were.
Are you serious?
Well behind where we were.
Are you in the A group, B group, C group? What are you in?
C group at this point.
You're in C group, and they're well behind you.
Meager.
Yes, they were. That we were early C group. They were like in the 20s, late 20s.
So they're trying to make a play to sit together or not get stuck in the middle.
Yeah. Oh, they've made the play. Like they just cut in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And they can run for it.
And
they know there's limited seating available.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to not get.
They're going to be at the back of the plane.
Which is where I'm going to be too, but
right, but that's
fine.
Right, that's what it is.
That's what you get. Your C group. So they make a huge run, cut all these people. They're on the list for that because that's a BS move.
You just made the list.
Is this a couple?
Yes.
Okay.
They're further on the list because it's like they know exactly what they did, and so I kind of look at the gate agent. I'm like, what are we doing?
We both see what's happening here.
Yeah,
Right.
and like, why have you not enforced this? So
Right.
the gate agent is on the list for no enforcement.
Need
Okay,
Tom Wilson there.
yeah, yeah.
You just made the list.
So I'm like, what are we doing? So I'm heated. I'm heated, and I'm walking down the jetway, and I see Ricky like turn around and look for me, because we've been separated now, and I'm like, did that really just happen? And they turn around and they just kind of look at me and just kind of have this grin on their face, and I'm like,
really?
I go, really? Like, are you proud of yourself? Like, you just cut a bunch of people. It's not just me. Like, it's other people.
So this conversation is taking place out loud.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like a huge confrontation because I'm like, at this point, what do I do? But I was like, really? You're going to turn around and look at me like what you did. So, I'm like, I'm heated, but they get on, they get seats together. Rick and I are separated, which is we're going to sleep anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I was just like, the audacity of these people to just be so blatant about it. Like, I'm not condoning it either way, but I've seen people kind of, you kind of look and you just kind of find a place in line and you don't say anything and you're out of position. I've seen that happen. But to be so blatant where you just come flying up through the crowd and then you turn around and give me the, yeah, I just got you. Yeah.
That's not cool.
It was Bush League. It was all the adjectives you could use. Yeah. So
that was Bushy McBushy.
Yes, it was.
That's right.
Willie, you got one?
People are telling me to pay the extra $10 to $20 to move to the A boarding group. I don't want to. I don't want to pay the extra $10 or $20. Just use the system how it's supposed to be used. Don't be a jerk.
Let the chips fall.
You were fine being early C. You're just not fine with somebody 20 spots behind you jumping in front of you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And we have a text from Sir Adam from East Nashville. Just so you know.
On a related note.
Okay.
Yes. The DD and C program is on the list. I was told that the gift card had been resent to my new address. It has not arrived. Darren is obviously lying to me.
Oh, I thought he had something to add to the Southwest.
We tried to get his address. He hung up after the interview. He hung up. We said, we're going to put you on hold, get your new address. And he hung up.
This is a never-ending saga.
We may have to give the gift card to Willie, who is also on the east side.
That way,
to take it to the east side.
Correct side of town. Yes.
Well, look, if that happens, like I am officially.
We missed an opportunity yesterday. We were together at the golf tournament. Yeah.
I'm out because if it goes in your hand, like it's now your responsibility.
Okay. It's big responsibility, but I can take it.
Okay.
I'll do it as a representative of the east side.
But just for Sir Adam in East Nashville, he hung up the phone. We asked him. I asked him during the interview to please hold afterwards so we can get your new address.
And he didn't. You're right.
He didn't. He just plopped down the phone. Just hung
always
up.
Something. It's always something.
He hit end.
So now we got to guess where he lives, and now we send that gift card out. And then we're back anyone's right now.
We're back to square one.
Elijah's going to spend his Friday night walking through East Nashville, knocking on doors, looking for Adam.
I'm going to use my messenger pigeon if he doesn't get it here soon. I mean, hasn't been around a while. It's not very good with direction, but I mean, he can deliver stuff. So at that point, it's off our hands.
You have to upgrade from the pigeon to the owl from Harry Potter. The messenger owl. Upgrade.
We're in a pandemic, William. Cutting costs here.
That's right. So yeah, stick with the pigeon. All right. This is an old guy rant, lamenting of the days of the past. But on the list, the fragmentation of how we watch great TV shows, right? Because this is what happens. There's two things that had me come to this. I was in the mode of, I went down a rabbit hole looking up 70s TV characters. And I was thinking, oh, remember this guy? Remember that woman? Remember this show? All this stuff. And I was like, isn't this great? And of course, back then, pre-cable, everybody's watching the same shows, right? Everybody knew who George Jefferson was.
Sure.
Right? Everybody knew who JJ was from Good Times. But now you got a lot of great shows. And you're like, hey, that was like JJ. And the person looks at you like, oh, what show are you talking about? Well, that's Third Rock from the Sun or 30 Rock or Young Sheldon, or you're like, and it's so fragmented. There's a lot of people that love these particular shows, and they're great shows, but there's a really good chance that the person you're talking to doesn't know who that character is.
Sure.
Right?
I have no idea where you're going with this. Who or what do you put on the list?
Well, okay, so right now I am way into a show on HBO. It's called Mayor from Easttown.
Okay.
Great show. It's
not seen on HBO.
Kate Winslet. Yeah, Kate Winslet is the lead person. She's a detective. Cool character. Got all kinds of issues. Trying to solve a murder. Hometown. It's really well done. Great cast. Good stuff. And when somebody says, "Hey, you watching any good shows?" Like, yeah, man, Mayor from Easttown. It's awesome. I don't get HBO. It's just you lose that connection, right? Whereas in the past, it's like you had 3 channels or 4 channels, whatever it was, and everybody's
so
watching
let me get
the
this
same
straight.
show.
You're putting cable, like all of
fragmentation,
all of our channels on the list.
We're so fragmented now, and we've lost something.
Okay.
That's definitely an old guy rant.
It's an old guy rant.
Willie just put the 21st century on the list.
Do we need to take a break so you can take a nap and eat dinner? I mean, what was that? What?
I've got dinner scheduled for 4:45.
That's good.
What?
I'm glad you put your teeth in.
We've got options, and you're what?
We got
you want us to have 3 channels again so we can all watch the same thing?
I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of shows.
Now listen
it
here,
happens the other
Sonny.
way.
Back in my day, we had the rabbit ears.
We all watch the same shows.
Back
we
in
can
the,
talk about
well,
it.
It happens to me the other way too. Somebody will say, "Hey, we've got these 2 people, like 3-person conversation. 2 people are talking about a great show that they watch." I'm like, I don't get that. I don't have Hulu or whatever, or Amazon Prime or
But the shows
there's
are
so many
available a lot of different
fragmentations. That we don't have even access to these shows. Even if we want to watch, you got to go get a whole new service to get the show.
Gosh, it's just BS that we've got all these options. It's just terrible.
Fragmentation.
Is that what you're okay? Is it fragmentation, or you're saying there are now way too many options, and that's what?
No, fragmentation, and that's on the list. Fragmentation's on the list.
You just made the list.
Is Stanley
Sorry.
in the window back there? I thought I saw something in the window.
He's
Oh,
over
there's
there. Yeah, he
Stanley.
just came. Yeah,
Wow.
Hi,
he's
Stanley.
right over there.
Hey, take out your teeth and clean them while I do mine. This one's an oldie but a goodie. It happened again the last couple times I've done this, and I'm like, come on, folks. Manners, it doesn't take much. When you hold the door open for somebody going into a place, can you not at least acknowledge it? Just say something. I mean, can you nod your head? Can you acknowledge it? Can you say thanks? I mean, anybody who ever does this, it takes a second. I always acknowledge them. It's not too much to ask. Like, just to walk in and not say a word to a total stranger that's holding the door for you before they just, instead of them just opening their door and walking in front of you and having the door slam halfway in front of you, can you not just, it takes 1 second to acknowledge them? Like, really? You don't even say a word. You just blow by them and literally not say a word. I don't understand that. Like, how hard is that? Honestly, like, fake it. How hard is it to say, just like I said, any acknowledgement, even a nod, a smile, but just no reaction, deadpan, blow by, nothing? That's happened the last 2 times I've done it. And I'm like, really? Like,
Too straight, huh?
You needed to get in there that much. Like, by the way, you can do both. You can still walk, and like in your current strides, you can still acknowledge. Like, you can nod, you can smile, you can say thank you or thanks, and never miss a beat. But just to blow by, no reaction, no eye contact, no nothing, not say a word. Those people that do that,
You just made the list.
and the other one is for me, yesterday. I put myself on the list. We had a nice meeting yesterday after we were at the Grove, and we all met at a place in Cool Springs. And I put in the wrong address. I'd never been to this place. I didn't even know that it was open. So I'd never been there. And so I didn't know where exactly it was. Cool Springs kind of a big place, that area. And I put in the wrong address in my GPS and got totally lost. I ended up calling Chase, and I was out in the cow fields. And I'm like, I don't know where I'm at. I'm not even sure if I'm in the same county anymore. So I was late to our meeting, and so therefore I'm putting myself on the list.
You just made self-reporting. Self-reporting is
This
good.
is what I don't understand, Darren. You're going to Cool Springs. This meeting was not out in the cow fields. You were coming from.
I was listening to GPS.
You were going to Cool Springs. You couldn't find your way to Cool Springs, and then tried to narrow it down.
I caved to. No, it was not going to take. It was not going to take me there. I put in the wrong thing. I don't know what I did wrong. I just typed in the address that was sent to us.
Okay, but once you're not getting to 65 South, like after just a few minutes from where we were, like, didn't your brain, forget about your GPS, didn't you have something in your head saying
I ignored
something's
it
not right
many
here.
times? I was going, no. Like Chase knows, like we pulled out of the Grove, and I went right because it was telling me to go right. I'm like, no, why?
I went left.
And you went left, and I know left is the way to go. And I'm like, no. By the way, I went down that way, and I was like, I'm turning around. Like, what am I doing? Like, what? This is wrong. And so I kept ignoring it. And then eventually I caved because it's like, get off here, get off here. What are you doing? Get off here. You know, recalculating. It's like, what are you doing? And finally I caved and I got off the exit, and I'm like out driving in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, what am I doing? Where am I? And then I see cows, and I'm like, this is not the way to Cool Springs. Like, what am I doing? So I'm putting myself. I self-reported. That was just
people have been texting. We got one that says, "What's next, Willie? Electricity and indoor plumbing." So Willie get the rant there. I'll say this:
you could get so much more done going out to the outhouse, right? You could just get a lot more work done out there. It would be private. You're left alone.
Think about how much water you save.
It's a lot of water.
I'm just saying, you gain something, you lose something. That's fragmentation. We've lost something there. That's what's on the list for me.
And Darren, to yours on holding the door, I kid you not, because I'm raised in the South, so I was told to hold the door, from a very early age. I kid you not, I held the door for a young lady one time, and she turned and looked at me and said, "I am perfectly capable of opening my own door."
Wow.
And I was like, huh?
Wow.
Like, you're getting mad at me for doing something nice?
That's not
like,
supposed to be the routine there.
Wow. Now that's, by the way, that's another level.
Oh,
that's taken it to another level.
Total rejection.
It's like, okay.
Like, basically, she said, "How dare you?"
Yeah. like, listen,
hey, at least she acknowledged you.
There you go.
Let's go to Josh. Josh, who or what is on your
We went
list?
out the next night.
Hey, how y'all doing, fellas?
Good.
All right, so Memphis Grizzlies. That's who made my list. So I made a little friendly wager on FanDuel of Saturday of last week. 10-team parlay pick. Money line. Hit 9 out of 10. Memphis favored by 11.5 points.
Oh.
Okay, that's last Saturday. Yesterday, I made it the same little 10-team parlay. I took the money line. Memphis favored by 14 at the beginning, and I think it dropped down to 9 because everybody was jumping on the Memphis wagon. Only team to lose both times, Memphis Grizzlies.
No.
Would have paid $5 wager. Would have paid out $2,000 both times, over $2,000. And I know it's a small rant, but Lord, I have been a Memphis fan since I've been in Nashville. Since they came to Memphis wise, but I've been a Memphis fan since they came to Memphis, and just saying, I hardly ever bet on the home teams because I have that type of look that if I bet on them, they don't win. And both times they let me down. Memphis done let me down again, man. 2 times in the past week.
You just made the list.
Yeah, that
Thank you,
deserves
fellas.
it. Thank you, Josh. That I don't even know what to say.
That hurts.
Yikes.
Games they needed to win too. Like the Grizzlies need to win to avoid slipping out of this playoff play-in tournament. They
By the way,
needed to
he
win
even
those
had the
two.
money line.
Oh, are they still having the play-in tournament? I thought
Oh,
since
yeah.
LeBron was pissed about it,
You thought they
weren't gonna
changed
do
it.
Yeah, they haven't succumbed to his will yet.
I don't like that. I don't like it.
Let's go to Mike in Gallatin. Mike, who or what is on your list?
Hey guys, so I work in catering, and over the last few days, we've had it's Cinco de Mayo on Wednesday, and I've had kind of 3 straight Cinco de Mayos if you want to do it that way, because we're running some sort of promotion. And over the next 3 days, including today, I had worked 44 hours in those 3 days. So mind you, I'm in my 3rd day of that amount of hours, so I'm pretty tired as it is. So I get to work at 6 o'clock in the morning because we have a delivery for 9 o'clock. It's for 175 people worth of food. So we're talking about a whole lot of food that we are getting up early to do. My next order is not till 11:30 or later. So technically I'm coming in a lot earlier just for this one order, right? So I am packing up my car. I have all the food prepped and ready to go. And with 10 minutes to spare before I'm supposed to leave, they call and want to push the order to a later time.
Oh.
You're talking about $2,000 worth of food that you specifically had to call and get a finite window of time to set up and deliver the food. Like if you want before 10:45, you have to request it and get it approved from upper management to be able to do this. So I'm coming in and I'm working a 15-hour day today when I could have got 3 more hours of sleep because you wanted your $2,000 worth of tacos at 9 o'clock in the morning. So now they're wanting it at 10:30, and that now backs up with all my other orders. I'm in Smyrna traffic, stuck in that Smyrna Murfreesboro construction area, and just every single other order is either going to be right on time or slightly late because you didn't make your requested time slot work out for you, even though you had to get it approved by my manager to do that.
Mike,
so
this is why we have this. This is why we're here for you. So you can vent
for
this.
the money. I am thankful for the opportunity. I busted my ass and I made it work, and the customer, it will get another order from them. But man, 2 hours of sleep would mean I would not be yelling at the phone right now. I would be just like, grumbling at the phone.
So it just feels good to release it.
I need a rest, and I need a margarita, and all sorts of stuff.
So Mike,
here.
I'm gonna give you some advice because you know my history. I'm not saying that I've ever done this, but you might want to add a PIA on the side to their bill. Pain in the ass. That's what that is.
It was honestly to the point where with that big order that they were going to come and pick it up at the store. If they would have come to pick it up at the store, it would have been on the front step of the restaurant, and we would have walked them in there. We were pissed.
I don't
Mike,
blame you.
if you swing by my place in Smyrna, I'll make you a margarita, man. You deserve it. I got plenty to make.
Well, I'm over here stuck on Sam Ridley Parkway. So, I mean, at this point, your show's over at 2 o'clock, right?
2 o'clock.
I'll be there. So.
All right. I'll have a margarita waiting for you, man, and I'll join you.
All right. Cheers.
Thanks. Cheers.
You just made the list.
Wow. That's brutal. That
is brutal.
By the way, these have been really good. Like both of these, like you can feel them. Like there's not even much to say.
Do we have to
like,
stop?
Wow.
Do we have more?
Chris, who or what is on your list?
Well, first of all, I just wanted to tell DMAC congratulations because he's batting 1,000 because he's on my list too.
Oh, wow. Okay. What did I do?
Oh,
I'm just kidding. Actually, you're in a group of people on my list. I just have had it with a lot of the Duchesne. I won't call them haters, but people who are down on Duchesne. I get it. Trust me. I've been critical of him. It's a very expensive slump to be in. I get it, but let's not be so quick to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, look how much talent that guy's got. Yes, he's in the slump. You can tell he's a huge difference between Turris and him. I mean, you could tell Turris, he just was not he just wasn't getting it. He just looked like he didn't care. I'm sure he cared, but he just looked like he didn't care. You can see it in Duchesne's demeanor on the ice and in his interviews that he wants to not be in this situation.
Agreed.
So
well, first of all, let me just say this, Chris. I hope you're not putting me in. Duchesne hater is well, that is really, really extreme. I am far from that.
I would just say people are down on Duchesne. I don't think there's any Duchesne.
But you don't think that's relevant? Like, you don't think there's a reason to be down? I mean, he is getting paid to produce. He's not producing.
Exactly. But I think that, I don't know, just to me, there's something different about this guy. He wants to be here.
I agree with that.
He wants to be with this team. And I think that whether or not he shows it in the playoffs, I don't know. But I guarantee you, I would bet a paycheck on this, that next year he comes back. He's worked on mechanics over the offseason. He's, who knows, worked on his mental mindset. Who knows? But he's going to be back next year and he'll do better. I mean, look at what happened with Granlund. He came in here and didn't do squat last year and then part of this year, and then he just turned it on. I firmly believe that will happen with Duchesne times 10.
Well, let me just say this. I'm not comparing him to Kyle Turris as in this is what he's hit a wall and it's like it feels like it's at the end. I was saying it's feeling a lot like that situation of I feel like they're trying to do anything and everything to get them going, and it's not working. That's the only reason that's the only comparison. I'm not comparing their two body of works. You know, I'm not saying Duchesne's at a wall or he's at the end of his career. I'm saying I feel like they tried anything and everything. I know they did with Kyle Turris. I mean, everything, and they just couldn't fix it. And I know they're trying to fix the Duchesne thing, and I'm not saying they're at the end. There's probably more things, but right now it's starting to feel like the same thing. Like they're trying anything and everything to get him going, and currently it's not working.
Right, I agree, and I just think this is something we set on. We don't do any trades. We just let's see what happens next year. So
yeah, all right.
Anyway,
appreciate
it, guys.
Feel better?
I do feel better.
Good. All right, thanks. That's the point of this. The point is to feel better. That's why we do this. Nate, who or what is on your list?
The officials for the Red Wings Bolts game on Sunday.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all saw this, but the Bolts had two guys in the box, and the officials for that game couldn't figure out who was supposed to come out. So Killorn jumps out of the box, and immediately the officials blow the play dead to figure out if that was right. As an official, aren't you supposed to know who's coming in and out of the game, especially when all the information is on the scoreboard? Not to mention, there's a guy in the box taking notes and stuff. Wouldn't he start kind of banging on the door or yelling at the officials? So for the officials who don't want to actively change games, but forget who is supposed to come out of the box, you just made the list.
You just made the list.
I did not see that, so I'm not sure I know what he's talking about on that. Is that was that the 1-0 game, or was that the other game?
I think Sunday was the 2-1.
Okay,
Tampa won 2-1.
Oh, that was the Tampa win, right? They lost 1-0. I think it was in a shootout. The other game. Okay.
Usually the players know who's supposed
I was
to
going to say that's Willie. You just took the words.
And
That's
there's a guy,
exactly what I was
and
gonna
there is
say.
a guy sitting.
Shouldn't
in there.
the player know?
And
who's
the guy
supposed to come
is
out?
sitting in the penalty box, who's got a clipboard there. He should be keeping track of that too. Now,
yeah,
if it's Rangers Washington the other day when it would look like that game between the Predators and Jets years
That's
ago.
a little bit. No, it was worse. Yeah, that's a little bit different.
Literally running out of room in the penalty box. That's a whole different story. If there's only two, you got to figure out. You only got two choices. One of them should be pretty ready to go.
Let's go to Gary. Gary,
I was here
what's
first.
on your list?
Yeah, so the Preds and the Junior Preds organization. The other night on the broadcast, there was the was it U19 ladies Junior Preds that went to the national championship game, but maybe were the runner-up or the finalist or whatever and didn't win the game.
Lost in the finals.
Yeah. So, and we're saying that was the best national championship result. That's not true. The Junior Preds, either their third or fourth year in existence back in 2012, they were the U12s at the time. The birth year 99 double A's. They actually won the national championship. So next year, it'll be a 10-year anniversary of a Nashville Junior Predator team winning a USA Hockey National Championship.
Well, what do you think that was acknowledged in 2012?
The only mention of it, it was on, I don't know if it was, I think it might have been on the broadcast the next season. It wasn't announced during the playoffs or anything that year. But like they announced it, you know, the team was there the next year. But just the fact that that's kind of gotten lost, you know, the fact that there is a national championship in youth hockey in Nashville, you know, 9 years ago has gotten lost as they make the list for that.
Okay. Well, thanks for bringing it up, Gary. Thank you.
Yep.
You just made the list.
I think they were making a distinction between the boys and the girls. At least I think so. And it was certainly not meant to slight that team. I'd have to go back and look and see. I would think that the Predators would have recognized the Junior Preds in 2012 or whatever. Didn't he say 2012? Was when that happened?
2012.
Yep. Let's go to Scott in Franklin. Who or what's on your list?
Yeah, I called in last week when this was really top of mind, but it's still on my list this week. The Dallas Stars should not and would not be in playoff contention in any other sport. I mean, they lose 60% of their games, whereas the Predators win almost 60% of their games. This stupid NHL scoring system where some games are worth 2 points and some games are worth 3 points. And the Star, if this was the NFL, Nashville would be 9-7 and Dallas would be 7-9, and it would have been over long ago. But now they're not 7-9; they're 7-5-4, and they have just as many points as the 9-7 playoff team. So in no other sport do you get rewarded for losing the game. You know, you don't get extra points in basketball or football for going to overtime. In baseball, if you go to extra innings, you get the reward of your bullpen is blown for the next week. So they need to change the NHL scoring system, possibly to the 3-point system, where you know every game is worth 3 points, and you get a point for maybe losing the shootout, and the team gets 2 points for winning a shootout. But this overtime losses stuff, it is taking a bad losing team because they lose all of their games in overtime and elevated them to playoff contention where they don't belong.
Okay. All right.
You just made the list.
That's a classic argument of you shouldn't get anything for a loss.
Yeah. We'll discuss that on the other side. Adam, final caller. Who or what's on your list?
Angel Hernandez, Major League umpire for the Kansas City Royals and Cleveland Indians, for missing a blatant out call.
And what was his excuse?
Was this the scoreboard thing?
Yes.
Okay, what was the quote? Do you remember?
The quote was that he didn't see the ball. He didn't see the ball.
Because?
The ball.
And why did he not see the ball?
Because of the light.
The lights of what?
The little scoreboard right there on the ground.
Yes, he said he was blinded by the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Which I guess could be true. I guess it could be true. I mean, I'll take his word for it, but that is a new one.
But how can everybody ump in Kansas City, no problem, but he can do it right?
Like there have been a lot of games played in that stadium.
That up to maybe consider the source. Maybe.
Well, I'm not saying anything about him, but that is a new one, right? There's been a lot of games played in that stadium, and that scoreboard's been there for a while, right? Like I was blinded by the scoreboard.
Adam, good call. Thank you.
Blinded by the scoreboard. That's a Bruce Springsteen song, right?
Oh, no.
Manfred Mann.
We will come back. More on the other side. Darren, Daunic, and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Tomorrow night, it's game day in Smashville.
He scores! Roman Yossi scores in overtime.
The Preds look to clinch a playoff spot when they host the Canes.
We got to find a win to get into the playoffs. That's of the utmost importance.
Pre-game at 6. Face-off at 7 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Ryan Porth here for TwinSpire Sportsbook, which I'm excited to announce is now live in Tennessee, and they're coming out of the starting gates with their best offer yet for new players with 1 week of risk-free bets up to $1,000. I know I can't wait to take advantage of this, and you want to as well. Just download the TwinSpires app using promo code FREE1000 to get started. Void where prohibited. Must be 21 or older and physically present in Tennessee. See full terms and conditions at twinspires.com. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
And they are roaring here again at Bridgestone.
Smashville is a place to see and be seen. It's a place for first games and first goals.
He shoots it.
Where we cheer for our team and our city, but it's not Smashville without you. The Nashville Predators are introducing new ticket plans for the 21-22 season. The quarter, half, and full season options allow you to pick the right plan for your schedule at the best price. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets to learn more. It's not Smashville without you.
Hey, it's Jared. Buying or selling a car is one of the biggest financial decisions you can make. Edmunds will take the headaches and guesswork out of the car shopping for you. They're pros. They've been helping people like you and me for over 50 years. Edmunds.com was the first auto information website. They're experts in buying or selling. I understand how tough it can be for all of you to try to compare and contrast when you can't just test drive. That's why you got to let my friends at Edmunds do it. They have tons of local listings for new and used vehicles with deal ratings that will help you tell if an offer is fair, and their free online tools can help you build your budget, calculate financing, or even get a free appraisal if you're selling or trading in. Not sure where to start looking? The Edmunds editorial team test drives over 300 new vehicles a year, reviewing almost every car on the market. I absolutely love the idea of knowing what you're getting. When I was shopping for my last car, I probably tried to compare and contrast so many different things, and finally, I was able to find the right one for me. It took too long. Thank goodness that people can use Edmunds. Whether you're just browsing or know exactly what you want, Edmunds gives you that extra boost of confidence. Visit Edmunds.com to get started. For cars, there's Edmunds.
If you have a VA loan, you need to discover my new friends at Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto is changing everything about home loans here. Hey, it's Willie Daunic. Veterans who refinance their VA loan with Loan Pronto are shocked at how great the rates are and how much equity they have in their homes. Did you know that with a VA loan, you can take out as much as 90% of your home's value? That means you can get $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 cash out. Use that money to pay off credit cards, consolidate other loans, or start that home improvement project. Or even if you don't need cash out, you should call Loan Pronto and ask about their VA streamlined loans that require no income documentation, no appraisal, and no cash due at closing. And yes, you can still get VA loans in the twos. Call Loan Pronto now. 615-499-5780. 615-499-5780. LoanPronto.com. 499-5780.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval, not available on all loans.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Sunny skies continue this afternoon. We'll just filter in a couple more clouds. Highs upper 60s, lower 70s. Storms back for Saturday and Sunday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Sunday night, Bryce Harper and the Phillies conclude their series in Atlanta against Freddie Freeman and the Braves on Sunday Night Baseball. Coverage begins at 5 on ESPN, 102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is new Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Wrapped up like a deuce, another runner in the night, blinded by the lights.
That's what Angel said. Hey, don't forget to celebrate Mom this Mother's Day. It's Sunday with a gift of 1.5 hour picnic theme style photo shoot at McKenzie Lee Photography at Centennial Park. Picnic setup, sips, snacks will all be included. All you have to do is enjoy a fun and beautiful park picnic with your family. You also receive 60 or more digital photos to remember it. Go to thegamenashville.com, the contest page, and enter to win today. So keep that in mind for Sunday. Mother's Day is Sunday. Take care of Mom. That was funny. Angel Hernandez. I mean, the guy has never been a fan favorite. Most people believe he's maybe the worst umpire in the history of the sport.
Yikes.
Some would say it. Let's talk about what was brought up. Do we think the system is broken? Do we think that they should change? I mean, how do you respond? Are you okay with it? The call of, hey, what other sport do you get rewarded for losing? And you do get rewarded if it happens to be past 60 minutes. You get a point. What do you think about it? I think he was hinting if it's in overtime, you should not get a point. If it's maybe in a shootout because it's maybe, it was more of a gimmick, specialized, however you want to say it, to conclude a game, maybe you can. But what do you think about, let's start with overtime loss. Should you still get a point for an overtime loss? Because when you think about it, it's 3-on-3. It's not regular hockey. It's not 5-on-5.
See, and there's so many different things you could do to change it and reward teams more for winning in regulation. For example, regulation win now is the first tiebreaker. It used to be regulation and overtime win.
Mm-hmm. Right. It was row. Mm-hmm.
Now it's RW, right wing. But I go back and forth on this. It's tough. Here's another thing that I have thought about. Look at a team like Dallas, a team like Columbus. They play, a tight checking system. The games tend to be lower scoring. Those are the teams that take more games to overtime. There's a reward for teams that play low scoring games because more of them are going to go to overtime. And therefore you're going to get a point. And so if Dallas were a little bit better at overtimes, we know what the result would be. We've talked about it a lot. And the fact is that Nashville has been a lot better.
Well,
not just a little bit better. They've been a lot better.
They're tied
but
with
also
Vegas
a lot
and
less
Colorado.
of their games have gone to overtime.
I mean, Vegas and Edmonton, they're tied for the best in the league. They only have 2 overtime losses. Vegas and Edmonton, the same.
So you have
Meanwhile,
to remember,
Dallas is the worst, 14.
So you have to remember, this is sort of the lesser of two evils, right? Because you have that huge school of fans that are saying you should never have ties, right? You should never have ties. But for decades,
put me in that.
Right. But for decades, hockey had ties. So this was the compromise of, all right, let's get rid of the tie. But let's also reward a team for being even after 60 minutes. But other sports don't do that, right? Extra innings, you don't have a extra innings loss, right? You don't score games like that in baseball. You don't do it in basketball. When a game goes to overtime, the winner wins and the loser loses. You don't have can you imagine? There was a year that Vanderbilt basketball had a year when Festus Ezeli and Jeffrey Taylor and John Jenkins were there, where I think they had like 7 losses for the season, but like 4 of them were in overtime. So like if you had a hockey-looking record, the record would have looked even more stellar. But it's not how it goes in basketball.
Yeah, I get why they did it. But I am kind of in that same boat of you are getting rewarded for a loss. He threw out there, do you change it to you get it if you go to a shootout, which that I might be a little bit more on board. But as you brought up, it's 3-on-3. So both are, and I don't mean this in the wrong way, but both are gimmicky. Both are not what you play through 60 minutes. You have 3-on-3, you have a shootout. So I can kind of see both sides of it. I don't like it, but I also don't like ties either. I think ties in soccer and the NFL, that's bogus. Like that shouldn't happen at this point. Find a way to end the game. But I also, I don't love getting rewarded for a loss. You still lost the game, even though it went into overtime, even though it's 3-on-3. You have these different rules. You still lost the game.
All right. Okay. Let me propose these 2 options for you guys. All right. You tell me which one would be the better option. Let's just say we conclude, we agree with the caller, and we have to change it. Would you guys vote for A, wins and losses, regardless of how you get there, end of the shootout, winner wins, loser loses, there's no points, it's wins, losses? Or would you go to 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for an overtime win, 1 point for an overtime loss? So a 3-2-1 instead of
You're getting complicated there, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But that's the only way to change it. It's the only way to change it. The simplest way to do it is say wins and losses.
No, but go do your system again.
3 points for a regulation win.
Okay.
2 points if you win in overtime.
And the
1
loser
point
gets nothing.
if you lose in overtime.
Loser gets nothing?
No, loser gets 1 point.
Oh.
If the loser doesn't get anything, then you just have wins and losses. So those are your two choices.
So, and then shootout winner gets
it's same as overtime. I'm not creating
2-1.
another category for shootouts. It goes to overtime. Winner gets 2, loser gets 1.
So all you're doing is just incentivizing the regulation win.
Yeah, you reward teams for winning in regulation. Overtime is a separate deal. It's 2. You're dividing up the 3 points. So there's 3 points at stake every game. Winner gets 3 if you win in regulation. In overtime, the 3 points divvy up 2 and 1.
Tell me what that changes.
It rewards teams for being able to win in regulation.
But how much would that
points.
change would that change? I don't have the numbers in front of me. I know that just off the top of my head, Dallas has gone 5-14. So they have played 19 games past 60 minutes.
So they would still
the Predators are 5-2 and 5-0. So they're 10-2. They've played 12 games past. Like I would need to know, like, how many times are teams going to overtime and shootouts in a regular season, right? Like, what are the numbers?
Some more than others.
Is one team doing it 10 times and another team is doing it 26 times?
Sometimes.
Isn't that going to create
teams that play lower scoring games tend to go to overtime more because the score stays low. So forget about all that. So we're changing the system. I'm giving you 2 options. Either it's all or nothing, win or loser. Or do you still want to have a similar system, but just more emphasis placed on winning the game in regulation?
Let me ask this. If I choose just like any other sport, it's W's and L's. That's it. That's how you do the standings. It's your win-loss record. And yes, you keep track of if it's overtime for tiebreakers or whatever, but it's wins and losses. Is it still a 3-on-3 overtime?
That's what. Okay, so that's where
You
I was
have
going.
to.
So
You
is
have
it
to,
3-on-3 and still shootouts?
Yes.
That's okay.
Because otherwise, you would have games that go deep.
Yeah.
into
I don't
the
want
night.
to. I don't want to do.
You know,
that.
you've got a team that's got a game the next night.
Yes, I don't wanna do that.
Tampa Bay has got to go from Tampa down to Florida tonight after the game's over. So you can't have a 5 overtime game.
I will say this, and I did not used to be this way, because when I first got into hockey, like the shootout, like cool, most exciting play in hockey, all of that. Now, I would almost prefer they do 5 minutes of 5-on-5, and then 3 minutes, and then go to the 3-on-3. And then if you have to settle it, I know you're adding more time, but then settle it in the shootout. But
I'm definitely not in favor of that. I think
but you can see why they arrived at this conclusion
sure.
of either have a tie, which they used to. Okay, we don't want to have ties, but there's a distinction.
Ties.
There is a distinction in losing in a 3-on-3 or a shootout as opposed to losing in a 5-on-5. Different.
Right.
It's different.
Willie,
right?
it's a great question. I don't know what the right answer is. I really don't. I know
because I don't know if there really is one.
You know that I was against ties. People would get. They were so furious. I always say that all the time. Rip on hockey for ties, and people would get so mad. That's just the way we do it. That's the way it's done. Oh yeah, and then it went away, and then nobody says that anymore. Nobody complains about not having ties in the sport, but I did for years. So I definitely don't want ties, but I definitely don't want 4 overtimes on a Tuesday night in game 32 either. It's too much.
Sure.
Just
Right,
like
sure.
I don't like baseball. It's
Right,
too much.
but-
You don't need to go 14 innings on a
And that's
Monday
what
night
people- you're
in
right.
game 51.
But
you don't.
But baseball, they put this man on second thing in, and it's a loss just like any other loss. I think some old school people don't like that you didn't earn your way to get the
I
guy on
understand.
second base, and so that's a different way to lose. But you don't have that in the standings like you do in hockey.
I would say, even though I don't say it with the fullest of convictions, I don't. If I had to choose, and I don't love it, but if I'm going to choose one or the other, I'd probably just go all or nothing.
Wins and losses.
Yep.
I do the same thing, and I agree with you. Like you don't feel great about it.
I
Nothing's
don't
perfect.
love it.
It's not a perfect system, but it is the system for every other sport. I mean, soccer and hockey are the only ones I know, of stick and ball sports that have points. Then it's a point system rather than just wins and losses. So I'm with you. I'd rather just, if we're gonna do it, just have it that way. Just be wins and losses, and an overtime loss is the same as a regulation loss.
So you think MLS should have some sort of shootout or something to settle games and not have draws?
That's fine. Yeah, I want ties, draws, however you want to put them. I want them gone.
Okay, so
in no sport.
So then you would have to put in a measure in soccer. Like all three of Nashville SC's games would have gone to some sort of shootout, right, or penalty kicks. So is it win or loss there, or is it bonus point for the team that wins the PKs?
I mean, you can go to PKs, but like in regulation, they just have stoppage time. They don't even have like an overtime.
But you could play all day and not score in soccer in a soccer game. We know.
Well, do a 10-minute overtime period, make it sudden death, and if you have to go to PKs, then I guess do it. I hate if you're asking me to give you a ranking system of things that I hate more, ties are going to be well at the top of the list.
How about soccer have a 5-on-5, half court, move a goal to midfield, have 5-on-5, first team that scores.
I hate ties. They should not
that's
happen.
the thing. Like soccer's done it their way for 100 years.
I think I hate it the most though in the NFL. Like
How about
college
they just
football
do
doesn't
corner
have it.
kicks till somebody scores?
That could take all day.
Or goalie shootouts. Only the people that are allowed to participate in the shootout are the goalies against the goalies.
That would be funny.
That would be funny.
Have the coaches come out and take a kick. I don't know. Do something. But like in the NFL, there should not be ties. Never. Like why is that still a thing? I'm with Donovan McNabb. I know they exist, but like come on. Like this, it's stupid that they
Donovan
have ties
McNabb's
in the NFL.
thing was right up there with Angel Hernandez. Remember, it was like, I didn't know you could tie.
I didn't know.
Remember was
Yeah,
that
you
like
could
they just
tie?
sort of ran the clock out and that game
could
ended up
tie?
tied? And he was like, wait a minute, you
What?
can tie. I forget the exact quote, but he got absolutely.
I didn't even know you could
blitzed.
tie. Yeah, that was exactly what he said.
I just had a soccer guy text me and say that Willie's idea of 5-on-5 isn't that far off.
It'd be fun.
I would be all
It's like
for,
3-on-3
I would
is
be
fun.
for something that doesn't end in a tie. I agree. Sports should people give you their time and their money, and nobody wants to go home, with a tie. I mean, it
Right.
shouldn't happen in sports.
Like why
There's
hasn't
got to be a
the-
winner and a loser.
I mean, I guess I get the argument of like with the NFL, if you start on the 25, do the college try. I mean, they're going to score every time. I don't know if they will, but that they would have more of an opportunity. But move them back. So have one possession, at the 25, and just keep moving back until you have a winner. I don't know, but there's got to be a way to get rid of ties.
Let's go to Drew on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Drew, what's up?
Hey guys, so I'm a really big English soccer fan, and so I really get the tie part of the conversation for soccer. But my question is, MLS is so far behind in talent compared to the world game, and America and everything obviously wants to be first. Do you not think that? So if you develop some quirky rule of 5-on-5 overtime, or we're getting rid of ties, we're making you just play until the end, they're just going to continue to not bring in that world level talent, because no one's going to come here under that premise of, hey, this is just a random quirk that you have, and then every 4 years you're going to get to go and play in the World Cup. I think that would set the MLS back a little bit in that sense. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
All right, thank you, Drew, for the call.
I think, Drew, that's a good point, and it would have to be a universal rule. Like it would have to be
FIFA.
all the
It would
other
have to come from
leagues.
FIFA.
Yeah, and they would all have to agree that this is what we're going to do. Because to my knowledge, for the most part, MLS pretty much mirrors a lot of their rules to the world game. So I think it would have to be a universal type.
So it's more of a
change.
soccer philosophical question that is an MLS question. I see that. I would be sympathetic. I guess I can see that from Drew's point of view. You wouldn't want to be gimmicky or viewed as gimmicky and looked down upon from the world soccer snobs. Right? You want to be attractive to worldwide talent.
JC has a tiebreaker idea. We will do that to start the fourth and final hour. Darren, Daunic, and Chase. That's next.
Listen to us talk sports out of our app.
There are some positives.
How could you do this? Single.
Release. Tell us. Bye. You're cut.
Day.
Outstanding cameo performance.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Celebrate the amazing mom in your life with amazing deals from Electronic Express. Starting with the latest in home entertainment from brands like Samsung, LG, TCL, Sony, and more. Upgrade the home with up to 40% off all your appliance needs. Plus, get up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com. Helping you make this the best Mother's Day ever. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back, and you can hear every game this season on ESPN 94.9. It's been over 500 days without professional baseball in Nashville, and First Horizon Park is ready to reopen its doors on Tuesday, May 11th for opening day when the Sounds host Memphis, the AAA affiliate of the St. Louis Cardinals. Celebrate the return of Sounds Baseball with a special post-game fireworks show on opening night, Tuesday, May 11th, and don't forget to visit Third and Home, Nashville's newest sports bar. For tickets, visit NashvilleSounds.com.
It's simple. If you want to drive in Tennessee, the law requires financial responsibility. You cannot afford to drive uninsured. The state of Tennessee now has a new system that can actually verify your vehicle's coverage. Without insurance, you could pay fines and even lose the right to drive your car. Be responsible. Drive insured, Tennessee.
Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Revenue in cooperation with the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters and this station.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Nashville's home for Major League Baseball is 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9. Tune in for the biggest games every week. The place to bet MLB is the all-new Twin Spires, now live in Tennessee. Download the Twin Spires app today.
Hey, Smashville, it's Robbie Stanley, and I want to tell you about my friends at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They're locally owned and operated, and right now they're running a great tune-up special for one system for only $55. You heard that right? A great tune-up special for only $55. One of the many ways to save at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, and right now you can get 6 months, no interest financing available on repairs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling offering premium service without the premium price. Do yourself a favor and check them out at springhillac.com, your proud partner of Smashville Live.
It's simple. If you want to drive in Tennessee, the law requires financial responsibility. You cannot afford to drive uninsured. The state of Tennessee now has a new system that can actually verify your vehicle's coverage. Without insurance, you could pay fines and even lose the right to drive your car. Be responsible. Drive insured, Tennessee.
Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Revenue in cooperation with the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This is Carl Sholin, St. Andrew Sewanee School Head of School. At SAS, students prepare for the challenges and joys of college and life by taking increasing responsibility for their own learning. Learn more about fall admission at sasweb.org.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Grove, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ-HD2 Laverne, online at thegaynashville.com.
ESPN
102.5 live from the Wholesaling Studios, powered by RumbleOn.com. It's time for Darren, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
For two, a shootout strike on the year. The tornado stretches forward, close to the feet at the top of the 18. Shot, pushed wide. Jeffable most of the way that he was going to go to Causey's left, and Causey got there in time.
Fourth and final hour, Darren, Daunic, and Chase on this Friday afternoon. Hope everybody's having a good day to this point. Let's go to JC. I said we would get to him. 615-737-1025 is our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. He would like to weigh in on the tiebreaker idea. What's going on?
Hey guys, this maybe the general rule as well. I mean, I enjoy soccer, and once you learn how to watch it, it's a whole lot better. But I'd like to see maybe if you had an overtime period where they eliminated offsides. You talk about opening that game up, or just a regular game. If once the ball comes over midfield, then offside is off. I think that would really be an interesting twist to soccer. I'd like to see experimented with at some point in time. Thanks for taking the call.
All right, thank you.
So shout out to John Freeman of our NSC broadcast and Nick Barnowski of the Nashville Predators, because they both text me at the same time and told me that I need to go YouTube the old shootout rules that the MLS used to have, because I'm learning still. And so I did, and they basically, it was like a 35 yard breakaway and then a shot on net is essentially what it was. And they got rid of it, as was explained to me, because of what the caller said, that it wasn't a world rule. It was considered an MLS gimmicky type rule. And so that's why they got rid of it. But they're kind of fun to watch. I just pulled it up on YouTube.
Well, honestly, if you want to go way back, when I was a kid living in New York, the New York Cosmos were a big thing. Pelé played for him at the very end of his career. They had some worldwide stars, and believe me, there was not a salary cap. So the Cosmos had a payroll that was a little bit different than the Tampa Bay Rowdies. But one year, the championship game at Giants Stadium, and there was like 75,000 people there, was the Cosmos against Vancouver. And Vancouver was not nearly the talent. But, in soccer, if you have a good defensive team, you can hang in there. And the game went to exactly what you're talking about, Chase. Those were the rules. It was a one-on-one where it was a breakaway, right?
Yep.
You tried to score one-on-one with the goalie. And Vancouver won the game. I was at the game. And you want to talk about some disappointment, right? It was 75,000 fans going home like, we just lost on that goofy rule. That's not how, that is one thing, like in a championship game. Like, think about a World Cup final. Should they just keep playing until somebody scores and not ever go? I'm talking about for the championship.
That's
one thing is regular season as opposed to the championship.
Look, they end their biggest stage in the world with that. So
I've always wondered that for the World Cup. Why do that?
I just showed some of these on our stream if you're watching.
Pull up. I want to say it was 1978 or 79, Chase. 70 NASL, North American Soccer League, Cosmos final. See if that comes up. I was sitting in the end zone as it was coming towards me. Heartbreak City for the Cosmos.
Well, I got Pele's debut. You said versus the Rowdies?
No, it would be a Vancouver Whitecaps.
Let's go to Jeremy. Jeremy, you're up next on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. What's up?
Hey, guys. Enjoy the show. This has already been mentioned. I apologize. But I always thought for the NFL, for overtime, something would be really cool would be have the kickers line up and start at maybe the 20 or 25 and just do field goals back and forth. Either have your snapper and holder or just have the whole, both teams out there trying to block or whatever. I always thought that'd be a really cool idea. So I'll jump off here.
That's just as a last resort. You play your overtime, it's tied. So instead of having a tie, the equivalent of a shootout would be a field goal kicking contest.
But then you're going to put even more. Think about the kicker job to begin with, like all the pressure that's on them already and how they come and go and people blame them and now you're going to put even more responsibility on the kicker.
Well, then this is the other part.
Winning or losing games because of
that.
And
it's gimmicky, and that's what I want to avoid.
Teams might start drafting kickers then.
Well,
they may.
It's gimmicky, but
they would.
Is it that much more gimmicky than? I mean,
well,
what would you say?
But
Chase?
see, that's my
playing?
point. Well, yeah,
because the argument is that the players are physically exhausted after a certain point, and you don't want to risk further injury. There's time windows of TV.
Sure.
And so if you keep going, you're you're putting some people at risk there. Now, the field goal kicking thing is because there's only 16 games, now 17, but that's a big swing. Instead of a tie, you're winning and losing a game based on your field goal kicker when there's so few games. Like when there's 82 games or 160, 82 for hockey, it should even itself out.
Sure.
Right? There's a little more time to recover from that. But football, one game that goes to overtime that's decided with the quote unquote gimmick, that's a big, big swing.
Well, how do you feel about the college overtime rule? If you applied that in theory to the NFL, but maybe they start, let's see, college is on the 20 now or 25? I know they've changed it. So if you start on the 40.
Do the stats count?
Ooh, that's a good question.
So Derrick Henry
That's
in
a
a
good
5
question.
overtime game
and
gets
it's fair.
200 extra yards, and now he shattered the record. See, these are
they
the things
count.
that are,
They count now with what
in
they
college.
do.
They do. So you could have, a guy threw 10 touchdown passes in a game, or whatever it is.
That's interesting. Well, and I also never, why not play the full quarter? I don't like the 10-minute because
The
theoretically
10 minutes has increased the chances of a tie. I don't know why they don't just go ahead.
Right,
and play
because
the
you could
15.
keep the ball for 10 minutes and you
Yeah.
could play for a tie. So I don't know. There's no, like I said, there's no perfect answer, but I would say if they insist you play a 10-minute overtime sudden death, you do that, then you go to the college rule until you have a winner, and stats don't count.
Because the kickers have gotten so good. It's one of the reasons why they went to the current system where they want to give each team a chance with the ball and not end the game on a possession where the first team that gets the ball gets the field goal, right? Because that's what was happening a lot. Whoever won the coin toss, all you had to do is get it to about the 35 or in. And if you got a good field goal kicker, the game was ending without the other team having possession a lot. But because they have this rule now where if you hold them to a field goal, you get the ball, you've increased the chances that there'll be a tie, especially now that you're going 10 minutes instead of 15.
Let's go back to our phone line driven by Wilson County
People like
Hyundai.com.
this.
Jeff, what's up?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. I have always believed that the 3-2-1 solution for hockey is so commonsensical. I can't believe that it wasn't this way from the beginning. If you think about it, I mean, it satisfies all criteria. The 3-point, it rewards winning in regulation. And for the crowd, and I happen to be one of them that believes that you should get something for not losing in regulation and making it to overtime/shootout, you get that point. And so that side satisfies that. To me, it's just, I have always thought that it should have been that way. And frankly, I don't know why it hasn't been. That's all I got.
Well, I was going to say, keep talking. You may be into this. The more he was selling that with conviction. I like it.
So what he's saying is for a regulation win in hockey, you get 3 points. If you win in overtime, you get 2 points, and you lose, you still get the 1 point. Is that?
Yep.
Yes. It's the same. It's just 2-1 in overtime.
There's 3 points.
Winner's going to get 2. Loser's going to get 1.
Right.
3 points for a regulation win.
Instead of the 3-point game. Yeah. I mean, they're all 3-point games.
I'm not. I just need to see more like I need to see where is the list of all the teams and how many times they went to overtime this year? I would like to see, is there a big gap between certain teams? Is it all just a jumbled mess?
Every year
it's right there. Because if it's all right there and everybody's doing about the same, everybody's between like 15 and 19 overtime games this year, then what's the point? But I'd like to know. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to know who's playing. Like, what is the number of who's playing the most, who's playing the least? And what does it look like in between? Do they have that out there?
Sure.
Where you can look at all the overtime
They've done
shootouts.
this. They've done this before when they've looked at it.
So, do you have any idea, like, what is the gap from the team that's, winning in regulation to the team or the one that's been in the overtime and shootouts the most, and who's been the least, and what does it look like in between? Do you have any idea what that gap is? Is it a lot or a little?
I don't know. I guess I don't completely understand what you're asking.
is somebody is there a team right now that's gone the fewest amount of times to overtime in a shootout? Let's say it's, for the sake of this conversation, it's 5 times.
Okay.
The team that's gone to overtimes and shootouts the most is 25 times.
And so you're asking what the gap is like?
Well,
from the
okay, let's just take
Right.
shootouts.
So that is an opportunity for 20 more. You see what I mean? Like that's
yeah. Okay.
So
Well,
what
for
if those
example-
and what if they're really good? The one that's only gone 5 times. Think about how many more 3-point games that is.
Sure.
You're talking about, are we going to have, the point is there going to be runaway division winners because of that? I mean, do people just run away with divisions because of that? I don't know. I'm just simply asking.
I'm trying to see if I can find that data.
Because the point that started all this was Dallas, it's what's going to bite them is all of their losses. Like they have the league's most losses in overtime.
And yet,
14.
it could have been their best friend if they were doing better.
Yes, that's exactly my point. But if they would have turned those into wins, it could be complete opposite. They could be the team in the playoffs instead of the team that's probably going to miss the playoffs.
But that's why some people would argue that the regulation win should be more valuable, because there is a benefit from just getting the game to overtime. You come away with no worse than a point. So if you play a bunch of 0-0 games or 1-1 games, just by playing defensively, more of your games are likely to going to overtime. And then if you happen to be good at overtime, you could get into the playoffs without really having dominated very much. Whereas if you play a lot of games that are, obviously there's a reward for being dominant, but if you happen to play more high scoring games, if the score is 4-3 one night, 6-4 the other night, there's going to be less of those games that go to overtime.
So I'm looking at, let's see, it looks like Colorado is the most regulation wins in the league this year. So Colorado has the most.
Yeah, Colorado has only had one shootout the whole game, the whole season.
They've got 30 regulation wins, and let me find who has the least. It looks like Anaheim and Buffalo have the least, 11.
Right. They don't have a lot of wins, period.
Right. So but it doesn't, right. It doesn't truly, because you don't know, right, how much. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of, but that gap is 30 to 11.
Okay. Let's take the Florida Panthers. The Panthers have had a lot of games that have gone to overtime. But
they only have 5 losses.
They only have 24 regulation wins.
They've got 35
They've
wins.
got 10 that have gone. So they have 14 overtime losses. But if I've got this right, they've got 10 overtime wins. Isn't that right? That's a lot of games that have gone to OT.
11, wasn't it? What you just said? Is that 11 or 10? Is that right?
11. I think you're right. I think they've won 11 and lost 14. No, that's not right.
That can't.
They've
be
lost
right.
5. They've lost 5.
They've lost 5.
So they're 11-5 in overtime, if I've got that right.
So the number is 6, but they've been there 6. The point is, they've been there 16 times, right?
That's a lot of games.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm trying to figure out, is how many times people are going and how many times they're not. Like that's what you need to know, because I'm just trying to figure out, is somebody who's really good at winning games in regulation, and even if you are really successful, like the Predators in overtime and shit, which does serve you well, but guess what? There's still going to be a pretty big gap if somebody does a whole lot of winning in regulation. And I'm just trying to figure out, would the divisions look a lot different, and possibly look different in a way of, does somebody just completely run away and it's boring, right? Does it turn into boring races? I don't know.
Yeah, and that would be really something that you don't want to.
Right, you don't want boring races, right? You don't want that.
Like that was one thing with, and I know this is obviously different, but that was one thing with NASCAR why they finally changed their point system, because the championship a lot of times it would be decided.
It was over. I mean, the Matt Kenseth, that's what changed it.
Right.
Matt Kenseth changed the rule.
And even then when the initial concept of the chase, it wasn't perfect because you weren't rewarding for wins. And that was the big thing of, why aren't you getting, why doesn't a win count for more? And so they finally did that. And so now, like, you win a race, you're in the playoffs. And I love that system because, yes, you're going to have, guys that may luck up and win one at Daytona or Talladega, but they get taken care of pretty quick. So it's still just like a bad team or in a bad division, i.e. the NFC East, like they still got in, but you take care of it. So I like what they do now with their point system. But and am I correct in saying a texter, Seth said this, the international hockey point system is 3 points? Is that right? For a win?
I think so. Like, for example, the World Junior Championships.
Yeah.
And the Olympics. I think that's how you do it. You get 3 for a win.
I think I'm being sold a little bit more on that.
Yep. I think I'm starting to warm up to it. Let's go back to our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Gary, you're up next.
Yeah, I just got done talking to you guys. But so the 3-point system right now, the Preds would have 99 points because they have won 10 games in either overtime or shootout.
Correct.
And they've only lost the 2. So they would have, and with what do they have? 19 regular, just regular.
Yeah. So they would have only 19 3-point wins. So they have a lot of 2-point wins if you have
20. Yeah, 10. They have 10 2-point wins, and then they'd have 2 where they get that loser.
So what would their points be right now? They have 60. What would it be in that system?
So you have 19 times 3.
99.
No, it wouldn't be.
10 times 2, and then two
so
1-pointers.
57 points for the normal regulation wins.
Okay.
20 points for overtime shootout wins.
77.
And then 2 points for overtime losses.
79.
Overtime.
Yes.
I'm sorry, 79.
79.
Yeah.
No, it's like 99 sounded way too high. 79.
Yeah.
Okay, so
sorry,
instead
79.
of 60, they would have 79. Okay, so let's do Dallas.
Dallas would be 16 times 3.
48.
48. Yep.
Yeah.
Then they would have
5. They have 5
wins that were worth 2 points.
So that's 10, right? So 58.
And then they would have 14 1-pointers. Yeah.
58 and 14 is what, 72?
Yeah.
So 79 to 72. Okay.
So we're not talking about something that would radically change it, but there would be a change and be more of a reward for winning in regulation.
So instead of a 4-point lead, they would have, what did we just say, 79 to 72? Is that right? So instead of a 4-point lead, a 7-point lead. Okay.
But it would give the opportunity for somebody to rip off, if they ripped off, let's say Dallas, they got 3 games left. If they rip off 3 straight regulation wins, that'd be some drama, right?
Sure.
You could get more points.
Yep.
And so
right. Dallas, right now, Dallas still isn't that far behind. If they win that game, if they win 2 games, that's 6 points. They're only 7 points behind, but there's still just that little bit of difference, and it pushes you to try to get the full 3 points instead of, just kind of turtling at the end of the game and saying
that's true, because
there is the push factor. I like that, Gary. That is a good point.
That's a great point, because you do see in the final couple minutes of a game that's tied in the regular season, especially, hey, let's make sure we do not goof this up and give up the point. Let's take our chances, right? There is a point where both teams
creates a little bit more urgency, right?
Right.
Like
so you have both teams incentivized to say, we got to go for it. We
sign
need 3.
me up. I think I've been sold. I think I'm not. Now I'm hot. I'm more than just warmed up. Now I'm kind of hot. I'm kind of really going the other side now. I kind of like the 3-2.
This doesn't happen very often on the show. Usually,
no,
Darren
I
sticks
know.
to his guns.
I know.
They're stubborn.
He's been swayed, and I think I have too, because you should have more of an incentive for winning in regulation. And because of that, because of the push factor, what was just brought up, I think that actually could reduce, the number of games going into OT, potentially.
Possibly. One Gary phone call was good. Let's see if we got another Gary phone call that's good on our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What's up?
Hey, the previous Gary, he's obviously a genius. His running the points made sense, and it makes sense on a micro level. But to really see what it does, somebody needs to put a pencil to paper and see what it does for the whole standings as it is right now.
Yeah, that's what I would love to know, Gary. Can you do that for us right now? Call us back.
No.
Okay. That was an honest answer. I wanted to. That's what I want to see that too, Gary. That will get me fully on board one way or the other. Like I'm almost there, but let me see what all the standings would look like right now under that system, and I would tell
just
you.
Take
if
you
I'm
a few minutes to tally it because we just did it for Nashville and Dallas.
That was for 2 teams, but we'd have to figure out how many times they win, and we just happen to know
this
that.
has been done before. If you Google articles that they have had, they've taken a season in the past and say this is what it would have been had they had 3-2-1. So they have proposed this before. They just haven't bit the bullet and changed it. Because I think you're going to get a lot more for that proposed system, 3-2-1, as opposed to just wins and losses
all
straight
for
up,
nothing.
right?
Yeah.
All in nothing.
Probably. Gary, if you
agree
change your
mind, go Preds.
Yeah, if you change your
Preds.
mind, call us back with the results.
Okay.
I love the participation on this because you can tell.
Calls.
I mean, you can tell that there's a lot of passion behind this with fans. I mean, we've gotten some texts talking about it, and whether it's the NFL or the NHL or soccer or whatever. Just I think a lot of people look at this, whether you're sitting with your buddies talking or here on a sports radio show of, is there a better way to do it with, pro sports of, getting rid of ties or going into overtime, settling a game, like knowing that, you don't want it to go forever and ever and ever. Now, if it's playoffs, hell yeah, go until there's a winner. Just play it out. Like that's playoffs. I get that. But I think putting more emphasis on a regulation win could help a lot of different things.
Man, I need to know. I need to know what it looks like. I need to see what this like. We did one example, and one example was the difference between 4 points and 7 points. Not that big of a deal. So 3-point difference in the current standings. But I guarantee you it's not all going to look like that. Like there's going to be some pretty significant gaps because of that. And I just want to see what it looks like before I fully commit. Before I sign off on this system, I need to see what the standings would look like. Willie, why don't you sign off by well, you're not signing off, but why don't you tell us about the good folks at Lee Company?
I am not signing off as of yet, but I am on call because Aaron Daunic is very similar to Darius Garland, having a meniscus surgery today on her knee. So I am awaiting the call to go for the pickup. She is in surgery as we speak. But she will not, like Darius, be moving on to the Cleveland Cavaliers, at least not to my knowledge. But I will tell you about Lee Company, 615-567-1000. That is the phone number that I want you to remember. Lee Company, we're talking hockey right now. They are a big sponsor of the Nashville Predators coverage you hear on this radio station, 102.5 The Game. They're proud of it. Also, they're a big sponsor downtown. Last 2 games against the Carolina Hurricanes, playoffs on the line. They're a big sponsor down there. You'll see their display if you can get down to Smashville. By the way, there are tickets available. Hopefully, you'll take them up on that invitation to go down there and check out one of these last couple of home games. It's going to be exciting, and hopefully it will not be. It is only the precursor to what's going to be some really exciting postseason hockey. But Lee Company also offers all these great services for your home. I talk about the home maintenance plan a lot, but let's just keep it to air conditioning today. Nice and cool today. You don't need to run the air conditioner, but in time you will. So if you haven't had it checked in a while, this is a great opportunity because somebody really quickly will get out to your home for Lee Company. They'll check your air conditioning, make sure it's efficient. They'll make some recommendations. They'll say, hey, you're fine. You don't need anything. Or listen, you need to look at this in time. You're going to need it fixed. They'll make those recommendations. You can get it fixed. And of course, if you're in trouble and it goes on the fritz for you, they'll be out there quickly to get it done for you. Lee Company, 615-567-1000 or leecompany.com. Let their decades of expertise go to work for you.
Tomorrow night, it's AJ in Smashville.
He scores! Roman Yossi scores in overtime.
The Preds look to clinch a playoff spot when they host the Canes.
We got to find a win to get into the playoffs. That's of the utmost importance.
Pregame at 6, face-off at 7 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Being a mom is one of the toughest jobs around during a normal year. And this past year was anything but normal. So this Mother's Day, Genesis Diamonds invite you to join us in celebrating and appreciating the mothers in our lives. Stop in and let one of our trusted advisors help you find a special, meaningful gift. Layering necklaces, stackable rings, eternity bands, pearls, elegant diamond pendants, and of course, stunning diamond earrings. Great Mother's Day ideas for any budget. There's no doubt we love Mom, but sometimes a little extra appreciation goes a long way as a thank you for helping us through challenges, making more sacrifices, and always putting the family first. So whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th, Mom deserves a gift that's anything but ordinary. And at Genesis, that's our specialty. Timeless gifts of jewelry that she can enjoy and cherish for decades to come, and always be reminded of how special she is to the family, especially after a year like we've just had. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
How healthy is your crawl space? Fixing a nasty crawl space is a dirty job, but Frontier, the all things basementy company, can help. If your crawl space smells, has mold, or structural problems, it will affect every area of your home. Frontier will ensure the best solution for your crawl space to protect your entire home. For a free estimate, call Frontier, the all things basementy company, today at 615-285-5799 or online at thebuzzfrontier.com.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids. Yep, even easier than that. And with our top-rated app, you can bank anytime, anywhere, making Capital One an even easier decision.
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
New consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One NA member FDIC.
With Robbie Stanley.
There's a lot of rich history, obviously, but it's also been a place that has been an absolute dumpster fire.
It's the latest on the Big Orange in Knoxville. Check out the Power T podcast every Tuesday on your favorite podcast platform or theGameNashville.com.
Hey, Nashville, this is Dan Lebitard. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
We brought up Nashville SC. Don't forget to join 102.5 The Game tomorrow from 10 to noon for the Nashville SC pre-match party outside the Hard Rock Cafe downtown. Party before the match on Broadway. Get some game swag, plus register to win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Nashville SC home game. Then head on over to Nissan Stadium. They've got a 12:30 match tomorrow. Get your tickets now. Nashville SC, NashvilleSC.com. Tune into the game on ESPN 94.9. The pregame show will begin at 12:15. Back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe with you here on this gorgeous Friday afternoon. Some good suggestions on overtime. Sparked quite the conversation. And I really didn't think that I could be swayed that way, but I'm starting to lean a lot more toward the 3-2-1.
So
let's just
does
be honest.
make a lot of
you
sense.
Can't usually be swayed. Is that a fair statement, Chase? Darren is not often swayed.
I know he is not. He is not.
Really?
I can't
Not
believe
easily
this is a
swayed.
breakthrough day on
You
a
think?
Friday.
No, this is big.
We have sway.
You were a stick to your guns kind of guy, which I respect. But I mean, there are times where it's like no matter what you're going to stand, and you're getting swayed. So
Now, remember, I said when I answered it, it wasn't with full conviction. I didn't love it.
Sure.
But I answered one way because, I wasn't completely on board of, yes, this is the way. It was like, okay, I'm picking this side, but I don't know if reluctantly is the right word. Probably not, but I'm entering with caution. And then we've had some really good calls, and I'm starting to feel it the other way. I still would like to see the final exam. I would like to see what the standings would look like right now today in the league with that system. and see if it's a big deal or not a big deal. And if it's just a little bit of movement here and there, I think I'm all in. I'm ready to sign off. I'm ready to endorse 3-2-1.
We have a few texts that I want to read. So an unnamed texter says,
"Oh,
I know
that can't be their name. Your name cannot be unnamed. It can't be."
I wish there was
Just
a
like
name.
the unknown soldier, we have the unnamed texter.
Currently, 2 teams that are close in the standings near the end of the season will be playing not to lose in regulation if they were tied. If the rule is 3 points for regulation, then both of those teams will be gunning hard for the extra point. It would change the dynamic of late season games.
We kind of have already had that phone call.
Yep.
Does everybody agree with that?
I think it would.
Do we think that could change and make a stronger push for teams to try to win in regulation? There wouldn't be that, okay, we're fine. We're fine going into OT. At least we know we have a point, right? Does that maybe change things? Now, wait a minute. We could get 3 here. Big
Right.
difference. I mean, I don't know. I think I do think there is some validity to that. I think there would be teams that absolutely would change their mindset depending on the situation, depending on the time of year. And you may see teams going for that regulation win more than other times.
Nate says he's trying to quickly do the calculations and hopefully he has it out.
Come on, Nate.
Today.
Stop. Don't
Nate's-
text us anymore. Just do the standings. Don't text us until you know the results.
We ain't got all day.
Right.
That's true. We don't.
We've got 25 minutes, man.
We don't. We can't take the extra. We can't take overtime, unfortunately. Ryan texts us.
Yeah, I was going to say I was.
You want to read it? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was going to say I was going to my text line.
Yeah.
Which is still sponsored and driven by Wilson.
Is that
County
Wiley from the
United.com.
east side?
No.
Has he ever texted you on that line before?
Yeah.
No, this is.
I like Wiley's text.
This is Randy from Bucksnort.
Do we have that call? Do we have that hot button key?
I don't know if it's on a hot button. I may have it. Elijah, I don't know. I don't
Please
think
tell
Elijah
me we
was
still have
producing.
that.
I'll have to look for that one. I was in the building for that. I was not on the board, but I was
Okay.
in the room for Randy from Bucksnort.
Randy from Bucksnort.
Yes.
Wasn't Randy driving to Cincinnati?
No, Randy was driving to Dallas.
Was driving to Dallas. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew Randy was driving. By the way, can we get a little Floyd just to lighten the mood? Can we get a little Floyd here, Elijah?
Pink Floyd?
No,
Floyd Reese.
Floyd Reese.
See, Elijah missed the show yesterday.
See, yeah, that was
Oh,
Max.
that's right. That was Max.
Now there's more on there that you'll have to.
Don't talk over Floyd. Floyd, what? Sorry, Chase interrupted you. Get the bottle of the jar of Vicks. Can you give us that one?
Elijah's gonna just start pushing buttons. He doesn't.
Are they not labeled?
Let's see what this one says.
I don't remember what they're labeled.
I don't know if there's a Floyd specific
Okay, hang on.
one on here. There's his laugh. But
I'm about to use the power of technology, and I'm going to help you.
Oh, this is
So
fantastic.
read the text.
Okay.
While we do that.
Okay, so you want me to read this first?
Yes,
Okay.
from the
Back
hot text line. Darren's text
This
line.
is from Randy from Bucksnort on my text line. Back when I didn't have a life and hosted my own hockey website, I posted a weekly status update of what the 3-2-1 point system would look like in the NHL. It tended to separate the better teams even more from the pack. Love the idea. That's what my fear was. My fear was having a even larger gap that then creates no drama, and you have good teams just pulling away, and it becomes the Matt Kenseth and NASCAR effect, which forced them to change the rule.
But don't you want the best teams to pull away? Why not? Why wouldn't you want the best teams in the playoffs?
Well, it doesn't mean they're going to get in the playoffs no matter what system it is. But it's talking about creating no drama for a second. Don't forget, it's not just getting in the playoffs. It could be for a particular seed. And what if there's no drama for seeds either? Then, oh, by the way, we haven't talked about this. Well, then what happens then if teams are coasting and pulling away? Then how do they treat the end of the year? Are they just sitting star after star after star? And then you get the fans going, wait a minute, we paid all this good money and we're not even get to see, what, this guy's not playing, this guy's not playing, that guy's not playing. Do they start laying back, not playing people at the end for a good while? I mean,
They've
does
earned
that
it.
happen?
They've earned the right to decide.
Yeah, but that's a real thing in sports. But look, the NBA, it has really forced them to crack down on it because people were ticked, rightfully so.
I don't buy it though. I
what do you mean you don't buy it?
To
don't buy what?
I don't buy the fact that I want my best teams to be rewarded for being dominant.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying though, what if that starts happening though? Because it probably would.
Then that's good. That means my best teams are going to be in the playoffs.
Well, it's not good if you paid $125 for your ticket and 3 superstars aren't playing.
I found all my drops. Sorry.
Including this one.
You don't know Nate Davis from a jar of Vicks.
Thank you, Floyd.
I think you've earned it. I think if you're that good, you earn it.
It's not about earning it, Willie. It's
Right
about
now-
also keeping your fan base and people
Okay.
that pay good money happy. And you know that just happened in the NBA. It created quite the stink.
That's a different thing though. The
You
load
guys-
management
you
thing is a
guys
different thing.
were-
They didn't used to do that.
Chase, it happened to you. Both of you. You went to Dallas and you went to and the next thing to a Golden State game, and they decided to sit the superstars that night. You guys felt ripped.
No, it was Steph. Yeah, Steph. He had like a shoulder or something, but probably could have played. But yeah, I miss Steph Curry.
Well, I thought didn't one of you go to a game maybe on the road and they?
It was that game. Yeah, Willie
we
was
both
there.
went. Yeah.
Okay.
But that was the one that I
Wasn't it
also
more
had the
than
court
Steph?
sides. No, it was just Steph. Clay played, but they lost. It was
They were
the
like
year
30-1 or something
yeah,
like that.
It was the
going
year
into
that
game.
Golden State only lost 9 games or whatever,
Okay.
and that was one of them.
I just think that it even happens now, so it's not like it never happens now. Like there's plenty of teams that have been clinched for a couple weeks, so they could rest guys. They should have the right to rest guys if you can be that good.
Who's clinched and is not playing for anything for a couple weeks? No one. They're still playing for seeds and home ice advantage. Nobody's been in cruise control. Give me a team that's been in cruise control for weeks, has nothing to play for. That team doesn't exist. I mean, the closest one is maybe Toronto, maybe.
No.
I mean, they've got a pretty good gap between them and the 3 below them in the North. But other than that, everybody still had something to play for. That's what I'm afraid of is what if you get those huge gaps where
But you
somebody's
really
got a
can't,
12
because
point
just
lead.
as easily as you can build a gap, you could close the gap. We just got done saying that if you could have 3-point wins for regulation, a team could come back if they get hot and string together 4 straight regulation wins. You could come back and close the gap just as easily as you could build the gap. So I don't know if it changes much.
Has it ever been close? Have they ever come close to really? I mean, like serious talks about 3-2-1.
I don't think so.
I want to say that they have, but I don't know about serious. I don't know if I would put the word serious in there. I think they have considered it.
Right. Considering it and serious are 2 different things. So they're not even really close to this.
Oh, I don't think so. No.
I'm surprised. I wonder why there isn't a more serious consideration. I mean, it's not like it hasn't been an issue. It's not like people haven't brought this up.
No, I think people by and large think it's for the most part fair.
Okay. And maybe the RWs now it brings it even a little bit closer.
Well, yeah, for a tiebreaker, yeah, that's
for a tiebreaker. But that's
a pretty
tiebreaker
recent
purposes.
change, going from the row to the RW as the first tiebreaker.
You say such dumb things.
Those Floyd drops are never going to get old. All right, I want to talk to you about my friends over at Cool Springs MD. And I've been going there for years because they've been helping me improve my quality of life. I hope you want that like I do. I'm a lot healthier and happier because of it. And you can be the same. Dr. Jeffrey Lodge is the board certified physician over there. His wife, Daphne, is the registered nurse, and they have a very experienced staff that can help you in a variety of things. They house a lot of things under one roof. It's a state-of-the-art facility there in Cool Springs at 1642 Westgate Circle. And maybe you've tacked on some unwanted pounds. Who hasn't done that as an adult, and maybe that has happened to you recently. You can talk to them about programs and products, and they've got people that can get you going back in the right direction. Rejuvenation, your age or your appearance should always be important, and as we age, it gets tougher, right? Things start happening. Well, you can sit down and discuss them about PRP, hair removal, Botox. They've got a lot of avenues or a lot of things under that category that can help you. Also, hormone therapy. Maybe you've been feeling off lately. You haven't had any drive or any energy, and you just know something's not right, but you can't figure out why. Or you've been dealing with some mood swings. Well, get your levels checked, because that can absolutely affect you. Maybe they've dipped, or maybe they've dipped to an all-time low. That can affect you in all of those areas. You can sit down and discuss them with them about BHRT, testosterone, estrogen. You get the drift. They do a lot of things there. They can help you. If you need to schedule an appointment or a consultation, dial this number, 615-283-7291. That's 283-7291. Or you can always go to their website and learn everything about them. It's CoolSpringsMD.com.
Your speaker at home is so smart that even Alexa knows where to find Nashville's best sports talk.
102.5 The Game is Nashville's best sports talk.
Ask Alexa to enable 102.5 The Game. Once enabled, ask Alexa to play 102.5 The Game.
Welcome to 102.5 The Game.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Sunny skies continue this afternoon. We'll just filter in a couple more clouds. Highs upper 60s, lower 70s. Storms back for Saturday and Sunday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Homeowners, if your mortgage rate starts with a 3, you can save a ton of money with Loan Pronto's zero-cost refi. Hey, it's Willie Daunic. You got to check out Loan Pronto, loanpronto.com. It's all new here with an all-digital platform. They make home mortgage refinancing fast and easy with super low rates and zero closing costs. You can end up with a lower house payment with no cash out of your pocket. It's incredible. Loan Pronto makes it easy. They can close in 3 to 4 weeks with no paperwork and no big bank hassle. Loan Pronto can cover all your closing costs. No points, no attorney fees. In fact, most Loan Pronto refis don't even require an appraisal. So call now and ask about the Loan Pronto zero-cost refi. 615-499-5780. Do it now and even skip your next 2 house payments. Call Loan Pronto. 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. No cash refi. Not available on all loans.
Hey, it's Turron Davenport. You ever had to sit and wait for 2 hours or longer to get new tires put on your car? Well, you don't have to do that anymore. Call my friends at Freedom Tire Guys. They're Nashville's premier mobile tire company that does it all. New tires, balance, rotation, everything. And they come to you. Your work, your job, your house, you name the spot. Head online to freedomtireguys.com, fill out their tire calculator, pick your new tires, and schedule your service date. It's that easy. If you don't see something you like, give them a call, and they'll find it for you. Check them out today at freedomtireguys.com.
Jared Stillman.
Dad, why are we doing this? Because I said so. That's how Mike Vrabel is running the operation, at least with the fans.
And company.
Getting the because I said so answer doesn't give us anything.
Tune in Stillman and Company for your drive home. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Interact with Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com.
He wakes up in the morning, does his teeth bite to
Hey.
eat on these
When you hear Dave, you know what that means. You can hear him in September.
Yeah.
You know, in Franklin, you can hear this. But you don't have to go home when you hear this. I mean, we're close. You know, you're not going to be rounding third and coming home when you hear that. But we did give it, by the way, great participation today on You Just Made the List. Great participation. It's going to be, I'm not sure who Elijah awarded that to, but that was tough competition on who to give that really good prize to. So thanks for everybody who called in, and hope you feel a little bit better for calling in and getting whatever you put out there off your chest. By the way, this season, you can catch all the action of the Nashville Sounds. Remember, their baseball season began in Toledo this week. You can hear them on ESPN 94.9. That's presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans and 312 Pizza. Tonight, the Sounds, again, against the Toledo Mud Hens. They were rained out last night. Pregame starts at 5:50. First pitch will be at 6:05. Saturday, again, against the Mudhounds. Pregame at 3:50. First pitch at 4:05. And again, they will play in Toledo on Sunday. Remember, they also got good news about attendance at First Horizon Park. Nashville SC has gotten really good news about attendance at Nissan Stadium. So this month, things are really going to open up. Of course, Bridgestone Arena was kind of the first to put that out there. Things have loosened up in Metro Nashville.
That was the city, yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's the city. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so they were the first because they were currently playing at the time. And so it's starting to spread around to everybody. Also, believe that's the case with the June Cup race, is it not? Are they sticking with just the 40,000, or has that been increased?
I have actually not seen anything new on that. So on what they've gone, I mean, 40,000 is capacity with the, the added seats. Cause I think that place actually holds like 25 with the regular grandstand. So
it does.
So, I think that that's what they're going with, which is about right. Probably where it needs to be. So, yeah, I have not seen anything different with that. I know a lot of NASCAR races are going full capacity though. So that's come out, like Pocono, they're doing their doubleheader weekend.
Really?
They're
Okay.
going to have it. Yeah.
Good deal.
Speaking of NASCAR, quick plug. Going to talk to Jerry Caldwell, who's the GM of the Bristol Motor Speedway, about the latest with Nashville and driver Kevin Harvick at 9:00 tomorrow on Chasing Checkers.
Check that out. You want to get our best shots of the week?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Talking to Jason York.
Saros has been so good. It looks like he's grabbed the reins. He's kind of put the team on his back. And I knew things were bad because up here in Canada, we get all the rumors. And when I heard Ekholm was on the trading block, I couldn't believe it, because to me, I still think he's one of the top defensemen in the league. And I know he had that great assist on the winner the other night. Like, to me, he's a guy that when I think of the Nashville Predators, I think about him. I think about that blue line. They're just built so well from the back end out, and they got to gut out and win those grindy type games because they don't score a lot.
John McGonigal is on the line with us with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Yeah, so from my end, I got a tip by a source yesterday morning, and then a colleague actually kind of hit me up a few minutes later and said, "Hey, look, here's the court doc. You take a look at this, basically." And then so I took a look at that, and then I basically ended up looking up the court document myself, and then called the Pittsburgh court to obtain the criminal complaint. And that's where all this information comes from. So the report I had out yesterday, none of it is like from anonymous sources or anything like that. It's all just based on what was said or written in the criminal complaint from the incident on April 18th.
Talking about Yogi Roth. He is with the Pac-12 Network.
I've known Elijah again since he was a kid. I worked at a camp called the Elite 11 in the opening with Nike, and it's a high school elite camp basically every summer, and you see the best guys in the country. And not only did you see Elijah, but you saw his dad, Alex, because he was training everybody around speed training. Right? So you knew the name, and then you got to know the acumen, and you saw the humility. And that's what stood out to me. This was a legacy player who everybody thought was going to Oregon. That's where his dad went. And he said, you know what, I'm going to go build my own. I'm going to go to Washington. And he fell in love with the current head coach, Jimmy Lake, and the former head coach, Chris Peterson, and how they were building it.
AJ Blazik is on the line with us.
Well, I was there 2 years with him, and between Connor Riley, who's at K-State now, and myself, and getting time to spend with Dylan, the last 2 years of his career was a lot of fun. He was a guy that was pretty polished, wanted to really master his game, and so the stuff he worked on and the stuff that he was kind of obsessed with the last year and a half. We're kind of polishing things off. He was an established player, and so he got a chance really to keep improving. And, he's excited as heck to get down here. But the last probably 2 months since their workouts, it's just been, Coach, I can't wait to get a playbook. I want to know what I'm going to be doing. And, he had studied Taylor a little bit through his time. And so, he had his run the ball hats and knows the boys' tradition probably better than I do, no doubt.
Say hello to John Clayton.
Not off season, no. I think it's going to be more during the season because you go back to Carson Palmer. They didn't move him to the middle of October. And so what happened was that the Raiders lose their starting quarterback, and now they have an opening. But when you look at it right now, you only have really 2 teams that would be in the mix to do something because obviously, we can talk about Bill Barnwell saying that Tennessee would be in the mix, but they do have Ryan Tannehill, and can they take the cap hit to be able to move that and then be able to take the draft choice hit? But I think it's Denver and Washington, and more likely Denver because with the no trade clause he has in his contract, he probably wants to pick the team he goes to. I know his fiance is in Boulder, Colorado, so I think in the end, if it's going to be a trade, it'll be a trade in October.
I believe that John, if John Robinson came on this show today and we asked him point blank, are you interested in Aaron Rodgers? And he gave the answer of, I like our football team. This is the guys that are here. That's what we're worried about. We're worried about this football team. I believe that's the same answer he'd give behind the scenes too. I truly do. You can disagree.
But that's a non-answer. What you gave, it gives him some wiggle room. That's the answer. That's the smart media answer that gives you wiggle room to do either one.
Okay, but
you're saying, what if he came out and said, no, Ryan Tannehill's my guy. He's our quarterback.
And you don't believe there's been any discussion whatsoever privately?
No, I don't.
I obviously none of us know, but I think it's general manager malpractice not to have a conversation. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Oh,
good stuff.
That was good. Good work.
Love our best
Campbell.
shots of the week.
Good stuff.
I have mine ready for after the show. There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Not wild turkey, is it?
It's not wild turkey.
Oh boy.
Oof.
I need to get a margarita ready for a listener.
Yeah, for Mike.
So
fun
margarita.
Fun fact about Mike that calls in. He went to MTSU when the same time I was there. The first time that I cracked a microphone as a host, he was a part of that show.
Really?
Yeah, on WMTS, the student-run station.
All right, cool. That's the first time I think you've ever revealed that.
I think it is, yeah.
Did you see the situation in Buffalo with their general manager? The league is now weighed in, which, boy, who could have seen that coming? Brandon Beane, who was the GM of the Bills, he did an interview this week. I think it was called One Bills Live. It was on Wednesday. And he was presented with basically a scenario of, what if a player is not going to be vaccinated? And would you rather cut him, an unvaccinated player, to return to normalcy? And he was like, basically said, yeah.
Ooh.
And the league was like, the league has reached out today. According to Dan Graziano, who's sourced this all out, the league has reached out to the Bills front office and in particular Brandon Beane and said, yeah, we're going to need you not to say publicly you would ever do that. We're going to let you know
poor form
that we do not endorse you releasing a player solely due to his vaccination status. So, yeah, we're going to need you to take your stapler and move your office down to the basement, if you don't mind.
Poor form.
Yeah, not good. Not good. That will do it. Good week of shows.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Week. Good way to end it. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Happy Mom's Day.
You deserve everything you get on Sunday. Hope you have a wonderful day. Have a great week and continue to be safe. We will talk to you Monday morning at 10 a.m. We'll see you then.
Cheers.